once the hot laps are done here, we'll have our opening ceremonies, and then we'll bring the cars out for the MLRA. They'll have their qualifying, and we'll get all of our heats stacked and packed. We already know there's going to be 3 heats for the Hickmo Super Stocks with their 27 cars, assuming there's going to be 2 heats probably for the Legends with 13. And while this is the first regular race of the season, it's not the first time we've had cars on the track. Of course, these late models were here running a little bit of practice last night, but the season got started here at Lucas Oil Speedway with King of America. That rounded out the month of March. We're going to have a little bit of time off later on in the season, but we'll turn our attention to sprint cars coming up next week, whenever the 3rd annual Interstate Batteries High Limit Racing is back in town for their 3rd annual event. See the skyline here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Wouldn't necessarily say it's a clear skyline, but hopefully we'll be in the clear the rest of the night after rain showers came through earlier on. As all of the legends have made their way back, it is time to get the evening started. And as always, glad to be back here. I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to see Doug Neff again back in the house. Take it away, Doug.
Shane, I'm glad to have you back, man. Welcome to Lucas Oil Speedway. It is our 20th year in existence here as the Diamond and Dirt Tracks. We're glad to have you along. It's going to be a great 2026 season, so join us often right here at the Diamond and Dirt Tracks. We'd like to pay some very special tribute to some very important people in the stands. That is our veterans. If you have served or are serving in the United States military, whether it be the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, or the Coast Guard, please stand at this time and be recognized for your service. If you would, please join those heroes standing among you here tonight for our invocation, Racers for Christ, Jackie Blatchett.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful night. Lord, we just ask you to watch over all of our veterans who are here tonight and their families. I plead the blood of Jesus over our military in the Middle East. Watch over them and our military here in America. Father, we just thank you for what your Son did on the cross. And be with the fans tonight. Watch over them and be with them as they travel home. We give you the praise, the honor, and the glory in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Please remain standing. Performing our national anthem tonight, Stockton, Missouri's own Janet Lindner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we send it upstairs to the rock star, Billy Rock and Shane Freebie, it's time to answer the question, Lucas Oil Speedway, are you ready for racing tonight? Up to you.
All right, 35 drivers set to take time. Group A qualifying here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Trying to pick up the Swift Springs Fast Time of the Night Award. First driver out onto the Speedway. That is the driver out of Burlington, Colorado, Don Geist in car number 10G. Geist behind the wheel of the Nutrient Ag Solutions Longhorn Clements Power Entry. Joined on the Speedway by the driver of the 20RT machine out of Indianola, Iowa. It's the Longhorn Cornet Power Entry of Ricky Thornton Jr. Driver of the Coleman Motorsports Hooker Trucking CIS. Knights Companies Capital Waste Elite Ready Mix and Coleman Farms. Entry, Ricky Thornton Jr. on the clock is each driver going to make their way around 2 times and try and set the starting grid for tonight's 4 heat races. First lap by for Don Geist is 16.266. Sets the bar on lap number 1. Ricky Thornton Jr. across the line. He'll go quick time in a 16.249. 16.249 for Ricky Thornton Jr. on lap number 1. Second lap by for Don Geist, quicker yet, 16.031. Back to the top of the board for the Colorado driver is Ricky Thornton Jr. His second trip around. Not as quick as Geist, but he is quicker at 16.192. 16.192 is Don Geist. Driver 10G out in front here early on in qualifying at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Derek Federer, the driver of car number 32, the Big Stickies Barbecue, Thornton Trucking, Midnight Auto Supply, Creason Power, Rocket out of Troy, Missouri. First driver here in group number 2, joined by West Plains, Missouri driver Joey Smith. Joey Smith in car number 3 in the Gideon's International Kingdom Builders Ministry. Buckles Smith Plastic Fabrication, Longhorn chassis. One win a year ago at the Nevada Speedway. The driver car number 3, Joey Smith. There's 2 cars out on the Speedway at a time here in qualifying tonight. First time ever the Lucas Oil Speedway for Derek Federer. Driver out of Troy, Missouri, car number 32. He will go 4 quick in a 17.716. Joey Smith up 1 spot in position number 3 to 15.566 on his first lap effort. Don't forget Jonathan Davenport, that 15.452 was your quickest in hot laps. As Federer, 17.248 stays for Smith, improves on lap 2 to 16.473. So far, all 4 drivers have been quicker on lap number 2. As Thomas Langley, our driver out of Parrish, Alabama, the next driver set to hit the racetrack and take time in his Mullins-powered Schwartz chassis. Timber Creek Housing, Extreme Graphics Safety Wins. All on the side of car number 19, Thomas Langley. Joined by the driver that comes in the weekend 8th in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series National Standings. That's the driver of the Roberts Motorsports, Missile Valley Transport, Low Voltage Solutions, Brack Properties, Denago Power Sports, Mitchell Ranch, car number 58, Longhorn Chassis, Clements Power underneath the hood of Garrett Alberson. Garrett Alberson out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, car number 58. First trip around, Langley jumps up to P3 on board at a 16.284. As Garrett Alberson, new quick time of the night, car number 58 at 15.825. 15.825. Alberson, for the time being, puts the Missile Valley Transportation number 58 on top. As Langley, quicker on lap 2, stays third, 16.076. Garrett Alberson, quicker yet, 15.607, improves a couple of tenths on his second lap. As Garrett Alberson, through 6 drivers, will set on top of qualifying here at the Lucas Oil Speedway here tonight. See Clayton Stuckey over there in the staging chute. The MLRA official Eric Atwood going to get the signal to head on out onto the racetrack and get his 2 laps logged in. As Clay Stuckey out of Shreveport, Louisiana, the driver of the Advanced Powder Coating Lucas Oil Products, Fiber Tech Laser Cutting, Graphic Arts Express, Mooring Transit, Extreme Graphics, all on the side of the Clements Powered Longhorn for Clay Stuckey out of Shreveport, Louisiana. As we said, he had that great 14th to 2nd run in the MLRA opener at the Springfield Raceway. Joined on the racetrack by the driver out of Peoria, Arizona, car number 78, Steve Stoltz. The Longhorn Durham-powered Alpine Stars Dirt Pro Incorporated, JMH Trucking, Don Hogan Trucking, King Dino, 25 Designs, and 5-Star Shop Service, all on the side of the 78 machine of Steve Stoltz. Driver was 4th in the MLRA standings back in 2022. No lap register right there for Clay Stuckey. We'll get an eye on that one as Steve Stoltz takes the 78 machine to the top of the pylon. 15.519. 15.519 for Steve Stoltz. bringing the Arizona heat. How about this? He goes 15.426. New quick time of the night, 15.426. As Steve Stoltz out of Peoria, Arizona, puts a new quick time up on the board as Clayton Stuckey will come to a stop at the top side of tournament number 2. MLRA officials will take a look at that. Right there, Brandon Barker going to jump underneath that left front bumper mount where the transponders are mounted. Swap out the transponder that was on the 15 machine that did not register a time, so Clay Stuckey will get 2 laps. He did not register any times on his qualifying effort, so a new transponder going on the 15 machine in the little orange pouch. As we've got 7 drivers in the books, 17, 18, let's make it in Group A qualifying here tonight. 35 total cars checked in for this weekend's MLRA battle here at the Lucas Oil Speedway.
I know you're worried about it, so I'm going to go ahead and let you know the Artemis has landed. They have returned, they have splashed down, so the crew of the Artemis is back on, well, not dry land yet. They're back on wet land now, but at least they're not in space anymore.
So now that's great news, and now we can tell everybody they can turn their viewing over here to Flow and get the action here tonight.
Just trying to keep everybody informed, that's it.
All right, we will try it again. It's Clay Stuckey. Going to come to the green this time. He will get 2 laps. He will be joined out on the speedway this time by Miss Layla Eisenshank, driver out of Fargo, North Dakota. The 18-year-old driver in the Ellingson Shaw Trucking General Equipment, DKW Transport O'Day Equipment, Donnie Schatz Motorsports, Pro-Powered Longhorn. All right, much better right there for the 15 machine, logging a lap. Clay Stuckey to 15.651, 15.651 for Stuckey. Goes up on board. Layla Eisenshank, 4th quickest for the 15 machine as she goes at a 15.984. 15.984, great lap right there for Layla Eisenshank. As up to second is Clay Stuckey on lap number 2 at a 15.579. 15.579 for Stuckey. As Eisenshank will stay in the 4th spot. A great qualifying effort, a little quicker on lap 2, but she will stay in the 4th position at a 15.677 second lap time for the Fargo, North Dakota driver. So Steve Stoltz sitting on top of the board, followed by the 15 of Clay Stuckey, Garrett Alberson, Layla Eisenshank, and Don Geist. Your top 5 through the first 9 drivers out here on the board. It's going to be interesting tonight. Ricky Thornton Jr. right now, 7th out of 9 on the qualifying board. So Ricky Thornton Jr. going to have his work cut out for him tonight. It's going to be some exciting racing, watching that 20 RT work his way through the field and trying to get himself locked in to tonight's $7,000 to win MLRA Spring Nationals opener is Gordy Gunbaker. Driver out of St. Charles, Missouri, will bring his Clements Powered Longhorn on the racetrack in the St. Louis Screw and Bolt, Hooker Trucking, Vanilla Cycles, McCain Ave Auto Parts, Ted Brown Quality Paint and Body, JB Salvage. All on the side of the 11 machine, joined by the 50 machine of Caden Klatt, one of those drivers that had a good time in hot laps earlier on tonight out of Edina, Missouri. His Pro-Powered Longhorn, McVickers, Misty, Valley Farms, Millard Family Chapels, Petrov Towing, Cleaver and Tank Lines, Designs Pyro Science Inc. All on the side of the Red Hot Chili Peppers car number 50. Caden Klatt will put the 50 machine P2 on the board, 15.514. 15.514 for Caden Klatt on lap number 1. As Gordy Gunbaker, 11th quick on his first lap, he will jump up to 8th quickest at a 16.045 in car number 11G. As Caden Klatt, new quick time at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Caden Klatt, car number 50 at a 15.373. 15.373 for Klatt as he looks to pick up his 2nd career Swiss Springs Fast Time Award at the Lucas Oil Speedway. He's done it in the past. He will try and pick up his 3rd career and 2nd right here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. All right, Brendan Willard, driver out of Lebanon, Missouri, will bring that bright blue number 3 on the racetrack, the McHill Powered Longhorn. All-guy performance, Willard Asphalt, Midwest Sheet Metal, BG Performance, Schaefer's Racing Wool, Lebanon Rig Mix, TJR Motorsports also on the side of the car, joined by the 32 machine of Chris Simpson. Driving out of Oxford, Iowa, and the Hooker Trucking, Durham Powered Longhorn, Hot Rod Septic, Randy Davidson Trucking, CJ Trucking, HE Equipment, Carbodi Services, Capital Signs, and Dirt Pro Incorporated. All on the side of 32 Simpson. Chris Simpson, lap number 1, 6 quick. It is 15.655. 15.655 for Chris Simpson. Brendan Willard, he was 8th quickest on his first lap, second time around. Not as quick. Willard will stay 8th with a lap of 15.996. Chris Simpson, also quicker on his first lap, stays in that P6 position at a 15.655. But right now, Caden Clatt, the youngster, sitting on top of the podium in car number 50 with a 15.373 to the 15.426 of Steve Stoltz. Just 5 drivers remaining here in Group A qualifying to crown tonight's Swiss Springs Fast Time of the Night. Lucas Oil Speedway, as we see Glenn Powell, driver out of Nixon, Missouri, the next to take time. Behind the wheel of his Capital Chassis, P&W Motorsports, Star Wholesale Supply, Powell Mechanical, PCI Construction Utilities, Horton Supply Company, all on the side of car number 26. Joined by Earl, Iowa's Daniel Hilsebeck in car number 22. Hilsebeck, the Banning Chiropractic, RRP Race Graphics, 22 Enterprises, Hilsebeck Farms, Big Deal Car Care, Finish Line Body and Paint, Wolfmark, Clements Powered Capital Chassis. Glenn Powell, 13th on his first lap, 16.314. Daniel Hilsebeck second on the board on lap number 1 at 15.423. 15.423 for Hilsebeck. Powell will go 13th at a 16.144. Second time around for Hilsebeck. Not able to get it done as he is quicker on that first lap at a 15.423 to the 15.373 for Caden Clatt. Nonetheless, a great lap right there by Daniel Hilsebeck has currently got him on the pole of heat race number 2. 3 drivers to go. Next driver onto the Speedway, making his Lucas Oil Speedway debut. Driver they call the Chelsea Charger out of Chelsea, Iowa. The AK Race Cars Clements Power entry, that's the 13 of Dallin Murdy. Dallin Murdy in the Skyline Motorsports, Burning Rock Products, Stealth Oil Well Services, Quality Services, Murdy Farms, Cash Money Motorsports. All on the side of the Game Changers entry. Joined on the Speedway by the 1X of Aaron Morant out of Richmond, Missouri. The Longhorn Durham Powered Ford. Burlington Auto Repair, Rickettson's Properties, Main Street Auto Body and Tow Summit Heating and Cooling, and Ashby Transportation. On the driver of the 1X machine. First time by for the driver of the 13, Dallin Murdy will go 9th quick in car number 13 at a 15.791. Morant right behind him, 10th quick in the 1X machine at a 15.973. Dallin Murdy stays in the 9th spot. Morant stays 10th. They both faster on their second laps, but both drivers will respectively stay in the 9th and 10th positions. 15.756 for Murdy and Morant at a 15.913. As it looks like Derek Fetter, the only driver unable to take time. Tucker Cox, last driver, sitting in the station chute. Final driver right here in Group A qualifying. As everybody's still trying to chase down Caden Clatt's 15.373 second lap time as Tucker Cox coming to the green. The driver out of Jeff City, Missouri, in the Longhorn Danny Crane Power State Tech, Cool County Upholstery, TC Property, Smarter Move Real Estate Group, Bill's Roofing, RCR Designs, and Gerloff Construction. 4 wins a year ago here at the Lucas Oil Speedway for the driver of the 1T, Tucker Cox. Made his MLRA debut at the night number 2 at the Springfield Raceway. Glad to have him with us here on Friday nights as we get the Spring Nationals kicked off as he qualifies 17th on lap number 1. A driver of 1T with a 16.236 second lap time. Second lap around for Tucker Cox going up on the board. Not as quick. He will stay 17th at that 16.236 on lap number 1. So early on tonight, picking up the quick time here in Group A portion of qualifying. Swift Springs leader in the clubhouse right now. That's the 50 of Caden Clatt with a 15.373 second lap time for the Edina, Missouri driver as he is quickest thus far. Daniel Hilsebeck, Steve Stoltz, Clay Stuckey, your top 4 drivers timing in tonight. As those top 4 drivers will each respectively be starting on the front row of one of the first two heat races of the night. 4 heat races total. Throw in a couple of B mains. We've got a 22-car starting field going after it for $7,000 here tonight in Wheatland. All right, ready to roll out with the second my race pass time trial session of the night. And leading the way, that's the driver out of St. Charles, Missouri, the Longhorn Pro Power entry, Trevor Gundaker. Gundaker in the Woody Bogler Trucking PEM, Millard Family Chapels, Fast One Speed Shop, Ted Brown's Quality Paint and Body, and Performance Bodies sponsored entry. Joined by the driver out of Manhattan, Kansas, that's going to be Chase Younghands in the XR2 Rocket chassis. Bozard Ford, Sunoco Race Fuels, Paulson Stussy Rock Products. Younghands Ranches, CGR Products and Race Day Engineering on the side. Also, the 51C, it's going to be driver all the way from Coldwater, Mississippi, Dean Carpenter, the Tension Brothers Sheet Metal, Carpenter's Construction, Performance Bodies, Extreme Graphics, J. Dickens Powered Longhorn. T-Rev's going to put it at a 15.700, setting the bar high here early on, but how about this new quick time of the night? 15.418 for Chase Younghands. Dean Carpenter to 16.427, quicker on lap number 2. For Gundaker, but he will not improve at a 15.649. As Younghands also not as quick on lap number 2. But hey, when you drop down a 15.418, that's an impressive lap right there to set it here early on tonight. So your new leader here in Group B qualifying, Chase Younghands, 15.418, the lap time for the driver out of Manhattan, Kansas, in car number 18. All right, Dylan McCowan. Driver of the Sonic Empire Energy BLC Transportation, Pomeroy Services, Midwest Sheet Metal, Bell Hamilton Ford, Elite Construction, Scott Bailey Powered Longhorn. Urbana, Missouri driver on the clock, joined by Jackson Earl in the quarter. Out of Neosho, Missouri, in the Rocket XR1 Motco Racing Engines, Ron's Towing, Scroggins Family Motorsports, 3D Tank Services, Goodman Trust Company, Black Rain Ordnance. Also on the racetrack is going to be the one machine of Amelia Eisenschenk out of Argo, North Dakota. Driver of the Longhorn Ford-powered machine, Ellingson Shaw Trucking General Equipment, DKW Transport, O'Day Equipment, and Donnie Schatz Motorsports. On the side of the car, as Jackson Earl Ford quick on lap number 1 at a 16.235. The driver of the quarter, Dylan McCowan, up to P2 on the board, and car number 8 on his second lap at a 15.568. 15.568 for McCowan. Eisenschenk, she'll put that one machine up into the 4th spot at a flat 16-second time, 16.000 for Amelia Eisenschenk, as she is 4th on the board. Everybody chasing Chase Younghands at a 15.418 through our first 6 drivers. All right, Chevy Boyer going to bring the 25B machine out onto the Speedway. 17-year-old driver out of New Haven, Missouri. The XR1 Rocket, Mullins Powered American Family Insurance. Pray-Per Images, Burwell Motorsports, Warrior Wraps. Machine joined by the 11 machine out of Festus, Missouri. That's the 11 of Jeff Herzog. Herzog and the Longhorn Cornet Powered Dan All Talk Trucking Fixture Contracting. Final finish, sandblasting and powder coating, Bloomsdale Banks, Stat Inc., and Walters Metal Fab on the side of the 11 machine. And Jim Greenway out of Galena, Missouri. The Schwartz Chassis, Triple R Race Engines, JGR Sales and Diesel, and Supermoon Graphics. Herzog, 4th fastest in the 11 machine at a 15.962. 15.962 for Herzog. Chevy Boyer, 8th at a 16.336. Greenway, 9th at a 16.359. And it's that time of the 25 of Chevy Boyer puts it 6 quick on the board on lap number 2 at 16.052. 16.052. Jim Greenway jumps up to the 8th fastest in car number 28 at 16.227. As Jeff Herzog hangs on to the 4th spot, a little quicker on lap 2 at 15.824, but he stays in position number 4. All right, the driver donning the D&D Fabrication and Welding Point Leader spoiler on the backside. That's the driver, 2-time MLRA champion. 2-time winner already on the season. That's the driver out of Prime Time. They call him Prime Time out of 11 in Missouri. Tony Jackson Jr., car number 56. He'll bring the J. Dickens Powered Longhorn, All Guy Performance, Loop Enterprises, Icon Graphics, Merrill Bonding, Fox Shop, Shaver Racing Oil, Copper Owl. Entry on the Speedway, joined by the 43 of Derek Stewart out of Ainsworth, Iowa. The Clements Capital entry, Grace Motorsports, Cedartown Electric, Stewart and Sons, Penske Shocks, Tri-State R&D, and Arlo Motor Supply. Tony Jackson Jr. lap 1 puts him 4th up on the board. Car number 56 at 15.681. 15.681 for Jackson. Derek Stewart, 17.479. 17.479 for Stewart. as lap number 2, Jackson jumps to second quick on the board at a 15.568. 15.568 for prime time. Tony Jackson Jr. a much better lap on lap number 2 for the 43 of Stewart. Puts him at a 15.831 in position number 6. 6 quick for Derek Stewart. 15.831. Chase Younghands still up on top of that 15.418 here in my Race Pass Group B qualifying. Just 6 drivers left to go. Next driver out of Lake Elmo, Minnesota, the driver of the 8 machine is going to be Matthew Larson. Larson, the TS Warehouse, Hand Show USA, Fuel Factory, Lean Designs, Pro-Powered Longhorn. Also on the Speedway, the 11 machine, that's the Longhorn chassis of Alton, Missouri, Sawyer Krigler. Krigler in the Roush Yates. Krigler Timber Harvesting, Centerpoint Graphics, Midwest Sheet Metal, A&M Machinery, Country Folks Towing, Krigler for Trucking Entry, and T-Dub, that's the 4 TW of Tim Ward at Harcourt, Iowa, the Longhorn Halbelt D&E Outside Sales, Toby K's Hideaway, Peak Decals, Farley's Wholesale Tire and Express Lube, Tire Demon, and JRM Construction Machine. All right, Tim Ward, 7th quick on lap number 1 in the 4 machine, 15.870 for Ward. Matthew Larson will take that spot, and he'll give it 7th for the 8 machine. Good lap right there at 15.838 for Matthew Larson. As the 11 machine of Sawyer Krigler, 14th quick in the 11 machine at a 16.799. 16.799 for Krigler. Chevy Boyer in the 10th spot right now. As Chase Younghands, Tony Jackson Jr., Dylan McCowan, and Trevor Gundaker right now your top 4, with just a handful of drivers yet to go here in my Race Pass Group B qualifying. All right, Justin Reed out of Camp Point, Illinois, going to bring the 1ST machine out on the racetrack. The Minus Fastenal Triple R Race Engines XR1 Rocket chassis. 39-year-old driver Justin Reed, joined by Superman Jonathan Davenport out of Blairsville, Georgia. Davenport, the Double L Motorsports Ace Dorn hauling and ringing, ASC Warranty, Nutri-Mag Solutions, Midwest Sheet Metal, Mark Martin Automotive, Clements Powered Longhorn tonight. And Matt Minzy in car number 41 out of Cleveland, Missouri, the Capital Yeoman Powered Highway 125 Marine PW Motorsports, Powell Mechanical, Horton Supply Company, State Wholesale Supply, and West Side Stone Company on the side of car number 41. New quick time of the night, Jonathan Davenport, 15.265, 15.265 for Davenport on lap number 1, puts in overall quick time. Justin Reed checks in 15th quick at a 16.337. Davenport not as quick on lap number 2, but not necessary when you're that quick on lap number 1. Matt Minzy, 14th quick at a 16.264. So taking the top spot here tonight, picking up tonight's overall Swift Springs Fast Time of the Night. That's the driver out of Blairsville, Georgia, the driver of the Double L Motorsports, Ace Dorn Hauling and Ringing, ASC Warranty, Nutri-Mag Solutions, Midwest Sheet Metal, Mark Martin Automotive, car number 49. Big round of applause with a 15.265, your Swift Springs Fast Time of the Night for Jonathan Davenport. Davenport, Chase Younghands, Tony Jackson Jr., and Dylan McCowan, all in your ever so crucial front row top 4 starting spots, as they will line up on the front row of heat races 3 and 4 a little bit later on tonight. Shane, looks like we've got some super stocks ready for some heat race action tonight.
We do. It's just not fair letting him go out in the last group, is it? It's not fair.
Builds the suspense. It's all about the suspense.
Well, mission accomplished. Fast time with 15.265. Again, 27 Hickamo Super Stocks. That's going to make for 3 heat races, 8 laps in each of the heats, as they're getting stacked and packed over in the staging area. Got to see a couple of these, or most of these cars come out for hot laps, but a handful we didn't get to introduce you to. But we will, as you see Casey Schumann, the general manager here at Lucas Oil Speedway, walking through the cars down in the staging area. Order of events, we'll have the Super Stocks, followed by late models and legends. That's how we'll go the rest of the time. Heat races for the Super Stocks, 8 laps, 6 laps for the legends. MLRA late models will run 10-lap heats, as they're trying to get everybody lined up before they come out on the track. Told you earlier that we have a variety of different events throughout the season here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Next week on the 17th and 18th, the short track will be in use just to the southeast of the track here, the off-road course for the short course side-by-side Outlaw Series on the 17th and 18th. And then on the 18th, the third annual Interstate Batteries High Limit Racing will be in the house. If you've been watching on Flo or you've been watching on even Network TV, they were in Vegas a few weeks back with the High Limit Racing Series, put on a good show there, and looking forward to having them here. Then we will have our first of the Pitts Homes Realty Challenge Cup, something new this year for our 5 main classes, the Arctic Food Equipment USRA Modified, Terminals on Late Models, Clear Creek Golf Cars USRA B Mods, as well as the O'Reilly Stock Cars and the Hekimo Super Stocks. They will all be in the house for a handful of Challenge Cup events, which we have points paying for all of those here at the track. That first event will be on April 25th, as we mentioned, and then May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's the Show Me Champ Off-Road Shootout, 3-day event. If you missed it last year, it is one heck of a show over on the off-road course. We invite you out for that 3-day show, and then the Slick Mist Shootout on the Oval, sponsored by V80 Marketing, will be on May 2nd. First of 3 heat races filing out from over in turn number 2. Take you through the field for heat race number 1. We start with Brian Worley on the front row out of St. Mary, Missouri in the B4. On his outside is Kyle Downs out of Brooklyn, Arkansas, Paragould, Arkansas, actually. He will start outside row number 1 in the number 9. Colton Borland inside row number 2 with Alcoa Harris on his right-hand side. Row 3 consists of Peyton McDowell in the 21M and the Wheatland Outlaw Mike Striegel in number 17. Jerry Brown and Jacob Combs back in row 4. Jared to the inside in that very white-looking 221. He just barely got the duct tape on the side just to give the appearance of the 221. And then J.T. Carroll, he will start dead last in the 94C. Jerry Brown's elected to go tailback and let J.T. slide up in front of him. They stack him and pack him 2 wide, side by side, door handle to door handle. 2026 season is underway for the Hekimo Super Stocks as they go through the Lucas Oil start zone over in turns 3 and 4. And we get them underway with Worley leading them into turn number 1. Kyle Downs to the outside, gets a little squirrely as he works the outside of the B4, but is able to complete the pass coming off of row number 2, get out to a 3-car length advantage as they all get somewhat single file to the bottom of the track. These late models, you're going to see them later on venture up towards the top of the track. Probably not going to see it much with these Hekimo Super Stocks. They're going to run lower on the track, about middle of the track on up, as this is a battle for third right now. The Outlaw of Mike Striegel in the 17, working to the inside of Colton Borland, and J.T. Carroll has been the big mover so far. He started back in 9th, and he has already worked his way up into the top 5, trying to get around the Outlaw for 4th. So you got a battle for 2nd. Colton Borland gets around the B4. Brian Worley, Colton Borland up to P2, then it's 3 wide and a battle for 3rd. Worley to the outside, Carroll to the inside, and Mike Striegel will get shuffled back. He now rounds out the top 5. Lap time's about 3 seconds slower for these Hekimo Super Stocks. We've completed 3. We'll see the cross flags from Bryson Leftwich up on the Foley equipment flag stand. 4 laps down, 4 laps remain. And Kyle Downs has been the showstopper so far in these first 4 laps, as he has gotten out to about a 4-car length advantage over Colton Borland. But the man on the move is J.T. Carroll. He has already cut the field in half at the midway point, and now with 3 laps to go, he is battling to the inside of Colton Borland for 2nd. Borland in the number 2 rides in 2nd. J.T. Carroll in the 94C, a nose to the inside. Through turns 3 and 4, just a touch of contact as they come off of turn 4, and Kyle Downs had lifted as the caution came out, the Midwest Sheet Metal caution out for the number 10 of Jacob Combs, who loops it around over in turn number 2, bringing out the first yellow of the event. And Kyle Downs had gotten on the binders coming off of turn 4. Colton Borland and J.T. Carroll were both hunkering down on him. So a lucky break for Kyle Downs as he will get to go back out to the head of the pack with 3 laps remaining. We've completed 5 of 8 here at heat race number 1. Talked about the different configuration here at Lucas Oil Speedway over in turns 3 and 4. Didn't mention the new clay that's been put down, new surface as well. MLRA cars were out last night. They were able to run pretty much an entire set during their practice session, so the tires are performing well on this new clay. As Kyle Downs, very slow, turns through turns 3 and 4. Colton Borland got right on his tail, and now JT Carroll looking to pounce the inside of Colton Borland. He started dead last, all the way up to a battle for second now for JT Carroll, and Kyle Downs has not been able to get away from the second place running at JT Carroll, and Colton Borland now back up to second. Look at the outside, a 3-car battle with only 2 laps remaining. They'll get the white flag next time by. JT Carroll looking to go from the outhouse to the penthouse. Started dead last. Has to lift up a little bit, and Kyle Downs just barely got into his back bumper. Now Mike Striegel up into the mix. He had dropped all the way back to 5th, and now after the restart, he has come charging to the front, and Striegel now up to 2nd, a far cry behind JT Carroll. He started back officially in 9th. Up to 1st, JT Carroll wins heat race number 1, and Mike Striegel, a nice rebound to finish a 2nd behind JT for 2nd. Colton Borland holds off Kyle Downs, so the entire first half of the race had gone to Kyle Downs, but the last half goes to JT Carroll. He wins ahead of Mike Striegel. Colton Borland, your top 3. Kyle Downs back to 4th, and Jerry Brown, who started towards the tailback, rounding out your top 5. Jacob Combs, the last car in the top 6 with Peyton McDowell. He finished 4.5 seconds behind JT Carroll. And then Brian Worley and Alcoa Harris didn't get to finish all the laps, but JT Carroll, the story in heat race number 1. Heat race number 2. Out from the top of turn number 2, and a familiar face in his 20th season. We're 20 years racing here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Well, Derek Brown is in his 20th year. He will start on the pole out of Stoutland, Missouri. And the number 11, his outside is Terry Schultz. The Sedalia, Missouri native was here for King of America, running in a B-Mod just a couple of weeks ago. Danny O'Neill and Johnny Coates will start side by side in row number 2. Galena, Missouri's Logan Thompson, and Appleton City's Johnny Fenwald starting 5th and 6th. In 7th, it's 06 of Morgan Campbell. Donnie Miller on his outside. And Brighton, Illinois' Jacob Rexing in the 59R. He will start in 9th. Boy, if heat race 2 and 3 stack up anyway the way the first one did, it'll be a show. A late race caution spoiled the day for Kyle Downs, but it made for an interesting show for JT Carroll and Mike Striegel. As JT up 8 spots, and Mike Striegel, who had fallen back to 5th in the middle of a 3-car battle, used that late race caution to get back up into the mix and earn himself a podium spot as the lights have gone out here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. That means the green flag in the hand of Bryson Leftwich up on the Foley equipment flag stand. Derek Brown, Terry Schultz, 2 veterans on the front row. Danny O'Neill and Johnny Coates. Gentleman Johnny out of Joplin, Missouri in the 35 sits back outside row number 2. As a brand new Allen chassis and Danny Crane racing engine for Derek Brown sits on the pole through Lucas Oil start zone. Hammer down as the green is up in the air, and Schultz and Derek Brown stay side by side as they head into turn number 1. Schultz gets a little bit of advantage as Johnny Coates drifts up into the track. Johnny Fenwald able to stay out of his side door panel as Terry Schultz by 3 car lengths over Derek Brown headed off of turn number 4 to complete lap number 1. Coates and Fenwald side by side. This is for 3rd. Johnny Fenwald well up on the high side, and Johnny Coates the inside of him. Johnny, a past late model champion. He won that title 3 times here at Lucas Oil Speedway in recent years. He picked up a win in a stock car during the beginning event here for King of America. His first win of the season, but he's going to give third up to Johnny Coates as Terry Schultz and Derek Brown have left Johnny in their dust right now. Coates starting to reel in the 11 of Derek Brown, but this has been all Terry Schultz out front. Terry and the Whirlies and this entire crew, you can kind of see the font format for these 4 cars. They all have team cars, all 3 parked side by side, and Terry in that Whirly chassis Yeoman engine, sponsored by Speedway Auto Service, Heritage Fab, and Ewing Farms. Terry was a 2-time winner last year, 1 here at Lucas, 1 at Central Missouri. Johnny Coates following in the tire tracks of Derek Brown. That is for second and third with 2 laps to go. They've completed 6 of 8. And it's Schultz, Brown, Johnny Coates, Johnny Finewall, and Donnie Miller. White flag will come out for Terry Schultz, who started outside row number 1. And the former champ at Central Missouri. And a past winner here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Terry finished 4th in the Big Buck 50. That closed out the season here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Derek Brown trying to make one last-ditch run, and he is not able to work to the inside. Derek Brown made it interesting, but Terry Schultz stunk up the show. Takes the lead over on lap number 1, never relinquished it, and he will win heat race number 2 by a little more than 0.2 of a second over Derek Brown. Johnny Coates back in third. All of those top 3 cars within a second of one another. Then it was another couple of seconds back to Johnny Finewald, Donnie Miller in the top 5. The rest of the group running in this 9-car heat race. For heat race number 2, Terry Schultz shines above all as he will win. And he will start towards the front of the feature coming up later this evening, and one more heat race for the Hickmo Super Stocks. And this one has 9 cars in it as well. As it's taking just a hot second for these Super Stocks to roll off of turn number 4. And there you see heat race number 3 already in formation. And they lift off the brake, lift off the clutch, and put down the loud pedal on the right side, and we'll roll out for heat race number 3 for the Hickmo Super Stocks. Mike Doherty out of Warrensburg, Missouri will lead them out. Doherty's in a Shark chassis and a Mullins engine, sponsored by 365 Express, Collins Land and Cattle, and Ewing Farms. First race of the year for Mike Doherty, and on his outside is Ted Washmeyer out of Tibbetts, Missouri, and the 21W. Brand new chassis for him. Ted built it in his own shop, and he will get the first laps behind the wheel of that 21W here tonight. The Arkansas Hot Shoe, Tony England, started inside row number 2, and Michael Muskrat's out of Stillwell, Oklahoma on his outside. Republic's Burl Woods and Will Smart. He's out of West Plains in row number 3. Terry Williams and Chris Lloyd starting 7th and 8th. And then Blaine Ewing, he drew the unlucky straw, as he will have to start dead last of this 9-car heat. Final one for the Hickmo Super Stocks. Mike Doherty slows them down and then gets them up to full song. Still looking for his first career win is Mike Doherty, as the green flag flies and Ted Welshmeyer rockets out to the early lead with scrappy Michael Muskrat behind him in the 164. Muskrat, middle of the track. Ted Welshmeyer chooses to go high, and a couple of cars get sideways, 3 of them towards the back of the pack, and that started with the 1X of Chris Lloyd. He's the one that got sideways. He was able to stay motoring, and a car that was on the pole in Mike Doherty involved in that, as is the 26 of Burl Woods. Since all three cars got involved, we did not get a complete lap in. So they will put everybody back where they were, and it's almost like it didn't happen. We're just going to do a replay. You'll see it at the top of your screen. The 07 gets just a little bit of a tap from the 1X and spins around the 07 Mike Doherty. And they will decide to go back. I think that's probably the right call. Yes, you didn't get all the cars across the line to complete one lap, and wasn't really any of Mike Doherty's fault in bringing that caution out. So let him go back to the front. Same song, second verse. We get to do it all over again. And Ted Walshmeyer, exactly what he did on the opening lap, as is Michael Muskrat, motoring around the 07 Mike Doherty to take over second. And a puff of smoke out of a car on the backstretch. That's the 27 of Terry Williams. He'll make it to the infield, but the question is there anything on the backstretch from a liquid or fluid standpoint if the 27 popped a motor? They all get through turn 2 now, and looks as though surface is still okay for racing as we've completed lap number 2, and Ted Walshmeyer ahead of Michael Muskrat by a little less than a second. Good fight for third going on between Will Smart and Blaine Ewing. Blaine in the black 04, the 27S of Will Smart out of West Plains. Stay side by side coming off of turn number 4. Just a nose out in front is the 04 Blaine Ewing. At least that time around, he'll go from 4th to 3rd, and then he'll seal the deal on the backstretch as he slides up across the nose of Will Smart. See if Will can cross over through turns 3 and 4, and he's not going to be able to at least challenge at the midway point, completing lap number 4. But those two cars are catching up with Michael Muskrat, who runs in second. You see Scrappy out of Stillwell, Oklahoma, DHR chassis, Chinook Racing engine in that 164. Sponsored by Maxima Racing Oil, Bike Racing, Philpott's Complete Car Center. And he has a challenge now from Blaine Ewing. Blaine, one of those other 3 cars in that Worley Motorsports team, if you will. And around Michael Muskrat goes Blaine Ewing, the 6-time winner last year, including 5 wins at Central Missouri. Finished number 2 in the POWRi National point standings a couple of years ago. And with 1 lap to go, Ted Walshmeyer has been dominating here in heat race number 3. Last year was not the type of year that Ted Walshmeyer wants to remember. A couple years ago, Ted won 10 races. It was a struggle for him last year, but what a way to start 2026. He gets a challenge late in the going, but he will be able to hold off the driver that started dead last, and Ted Walshmeyer ahead of Blaine Ewing, finishing the season, or finishing out this first race of 2026. Ted Walshmeyer, after a 3-win season last year, wins heat race number 1 ahead of Blaine Ewing, Will Smart in 3rd, Michael Muskrat, and Burl Woods. Your top 5 for the Hickamo Super Stocks. Heat races concluded for the Hickamo Super Stocks. And we'll get Terry Williams a push from the Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew, get him off the track. And as the MLRA cars start to roll out from turn number 2, Billy Rock puts the headset back on as we are set for late model action for the first time in 2026 here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks.
All right, Shane. Thanks, Shane. First of 4 heat races ready to roll out onto the Speedway here tonight. 8 laps going to be the distance. Top 4 moving on from each of these heat races before some B main action. We'll help to fill out that 22-car field here on night number 1 of the Spring Nationals at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Set starting grid here in heat race number 1. Driver roll for the pole out of Edina, Missouri. Car number 50C is going to be Caden Klatten alongside the 78 of Steve Stoltz out of Peoria, Arizona. Back inside row number 2, it's going to be Garrett Alberson, Las Cruces, New Mexico driver, and Layla Eisenschink out of Fargo, North Dakota in the 15 machine. And back in row 3, that's the 1X of Aaron Morant out of Richmond, Missouri. Morant alongside the 10G of Don Geist out of Burlington, Colorado. Back in row 4, that's Parrish, Alabama's Thomas Langley, car number 19. And scheduled to come from deep in the field. That's the 20RT machine of Ricky Thornton Jr. Joey Smith will start the 9th spot. Final starter on the grid here tonight. The West Plains, Missouri driver. Drivers going to make their way back over to the VP Race Fuel start zone here tonight, as we are still under the caution here before we get things underway here with heat race number 1, brought to you by Allgaier Performance Parts. Big thanks to all the MLRA partners here in 2026, including Allgaier Performance, Hoosier Tire Midwest, DD Welding and Fabrication, Iconic Apparel, My Race Pass, Midwest Sheet Metal, Premier Flywork, Race On, Randy Davidson Trucking, Rugged Radios, San Chris Trailer Sales, Scat Products, Swiss Springs, VP Race Fuels, and Weir's Machine. As these drivers will be trying to make their way back over to the Weir's Machine Scale and Tech area at the conclusion of heat race number 1 here tonight. Caden Klatten looking for his first ever MLRA win at Millard Family Chapel's car number 50. As we said, he's already got a couple of Swiss Springs fast times to his credit. The young driver out of Edina, Missouri. Steve Stoltz, a 2-time winner of the Southwest Dirt Racing Association. Also looking to grab his first ever MLRA victory for the driver that came home 4th in the series championship standings back in 2022. Stellar second row back through with Garrett Alberson, car number 58. Alongside of Layla Eisenschink in car number 15. His lights are out. We are about to go green, MLRA style, back in the house at the Lucas Oil Speedway. VP Race Fuel start zone. Green flag is out for the 50 machine of Caden Klatten. He will take us green here on lap number 1. Klatt, Stoltz going to go 1-2 down the back straightaway. 2 unique lines right there on the speedway. Garrett Alberson, Roberts Motorsports number 58, who run 3rd here on lap number 1. Right there you see Aaron Morant, the 1X machine working the top side. Don Geist, car number 10. Down the back straightaway, about to put 2 up on board. It is Caden Klatt still showing the way. It's great side-by-side action right there. Morant working the top side. Here comes a battle for the race lead. Superman Steve Stoltz down the inside, the Alpine Stars, car number 78, the Longhorn chassis. Giving Caden Klatt everything he wants it for. Little run, little racing. We are green down the front stretch, and you've got a new race leader at the line. Steve Stoltz, Peoria, Arizona. Flexing some muscle here early on tonight as he leads the way down the back chute. As it'll be halfway home this time by for Steve Stoltz, but don't count out Garrett Alberson. You see him in the view right there. Cross flags out in the air. Alberson clear up the top side cushion, taking a long way around the diamond dirt tracks, as is Caden Klatten, who drives it in deep as well. Right now, Don Geist holds on that 4th and final qualifying spot, and boy, you can see it, race fans know, here comes Ricky Thornton Jr. Thornton in position number 5 right now, trying to find himself into a qualifying position. To go on the board for Steve Stoltz. How about the run for the driver out of Peoria, Arizona? Stoltz going to lose the handle on the race car in the middle of 3 and 4 as he comes to the white flag. Going to close the gap a little bit that time of the line. Final time down back straightaway. Started on the outside front row. Looking to pick up his first heat race win of the season. Off the exit of 4, checkered flag. Going to go home here in Allgaier Performance heat race number 1 with Steve Stoltz. Stoltz will get the win. Over the 50 of Klatt to the 58 machine of Alberson, and the 10 of Geist will grab the final qualifying position As we go green to checkered in all-guy performance heat race number 1 as race fans as he makes his way off the racetrack. How about the win right there for the driver all the way from Peoria, Arizona? A staple on the MLRA series to drive the Alpine Stars Dirt Pro Incorporated, JMH Trucking, Don Hogan Trucking, 25 Designs, King Dino, and 5-star Shop Service Longhorn. Big round of applause for Steve Stoltz, your heat race winner. Stoltz gets the job done over Caden Clapp. They both started on the front row. Clapp will come home in position number 2. Garrett Alberson hangs on to third, car number 58. And Don Geis with a great run for the driver out of Burlington, Colorado. Started back in position number 6, races his way up to the 4th and final qualifying position in car number 10G. All right, so Steve Stoltz will look to fire off tonight in the 30-lap, $7,000 to win feature event from your Sandcrest trailer sales pole position. As we got the 19 machine of Thomas Langley stopped at the top of turn at number 1 and 2, fire underneath the hood of that car, so the Lucas Oil safety crew taking to the attention of the 19. Everybody else going to stop over here in turn number 4. We'll get your lineup set here momentarily. As we look to the attention of the 19 machine of Thomas Langley, who's ready to pull off the racetrack and down to the tech area. As you see him out of the race car right there with the fire underneath the hood, the Lucas Oil safety crew spot on for the driver of the Timber Creek Housing, car number 19, driver out of Parrish, Alabama. As he was heading off the racetrack over the Where's Machine scale and tech area. Crew's going to take a look at that. We'll hope that was just possibly a loose oil line or something of that nature that's not going to be terminal on the 19 for the night. As the hood goes back on and he'll jump back in, get some assistance from the Lucas Oil safety crew back to his pit area. Coming into tonight's racing action, 2 nights in the books. Those coming back on March 13th and 14th at the Springfield Raceway just down the road, Springfield, Missouri. Finds Tony Jackson Jr. 500 points up on the board. Your current MLRA point leader over Clay Stuckey, Dylan McCowan, Mike Spatola, car number 89, and Terry Phillips, rounding out your top 5. Caden McCorder, Timothy Culp, Aaron Morantz, Eli Ross, and Brendan Willard, driver car number 3, rounding out your top 10 in the standings as we head into tonight's racing action here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. All right, let's try it one more time. Your starting lineup here. In Ryan Davidson Trucking, heat race number 2. On the pole position out of Brule, Iowa. That's the 22 of Daniel Wilsbeck. Flagged on the outside by the 15 of Clay Stuckey out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Inside of row 2, that's the 32 Oxford, Iowa's Chris Simpson. And Chelsea, Iowa's Dallin Murray, the game changer, car number 13. In row 3, that's the 3 of Brendan Willard, along with the 11 G of Gordy Gundaker from St. Charles, Missouri, Glenn Powell, Tucker Cox, and Derek Fetter. Lights out, VP Race Fuel start zone awaits your front row. As Hilsbeck going to hit that loud pedal, take the band chiropractor number 22 back to the green. Big move right there by Chris Simpson on lap number 1. Started inside the second row. Matt Hoker, trucking car number 32, finds himself P2 as they exit turn number 4. Chasing down the 22 machine Hilsbeck. Clay Stuckey going to take the runner-up spot back with a solid move down the inside, turn number 1 and 2, puts Simpson back to 3rd on the board. Right behind them comes the G-Man, Gordy Gundaker, in car number 11, riding at your top 4 over Dallin Murray. Dallin Murray, first year, that Skyline Motorsports car number 13, finds himself in position number 5 as we go to put 3 laps on the board. This time on for the annual Hilsbeck. Hilsbeck, long-time runner with the MLRA Series, finished 3rd back in 2022. Is now out chasing Lucas Oil late on Dirt Series Tour. He's still looking for his first ever MLRA win. He has been oh so close a handful of times. His top 5 finishes for the Earl Iowa driver. A little bit further back in the field is heating up back there for 3, 4, and 5. Chris Simpson, Gordy Gundaker, the 11 machine. and Murray. Your top 5, right on in comes Intermission, Brandon Willard. 3 laps to go. Hillsback out in front, starting to stretch things out. 2.267 seconds. The advantage last time by for driver car number 22. Second, just a little bit quicker that last time by, but still unable to close ground as they will come right left and the white flag. This time by, one more time around for Hillsback. Still a good battle back into the 4th and final transfer. Birdie going to try and hustle on the outside of Gundaker, but off the exit at turn number 4, picking up the win here. Randy Davidson Trucking Heat Race number 2. It's going to be the 22 of Daniel Hillsback. Gets the job of Chris Simpson. In the 3rd spot, 2nd, we'll go to the 15th place, Stuckey. And rounding out your top 4. Looks to be the 11th of Gordy Gundaker. So Gordy Gundaker slides into a qualifying spot in the 11th G Machine. Dallin Murray 3rd. Chris Simpson, your runner-up. Chris Simpson in 3rd. Got a little communication issue on the transponder system, but how about the 15 machine of Clay Stuckey in your runner-up spot and your heat race winner out of Earl, Iowa, driver car number 22 in the Bandit Chiropractic RRP Racecraft 22 Enterprises, Hillsback Farms, Clements Power and Capital. Big round of applause for Daniel Hillsback getting the job done here in Randy Davis Trucking Heat Race number 2. We'll try and get those gremlins fixed on that 15 machine of Clay Stuckey for tonight's A feature events. Transponder issue still. He was solidly in the 2nd spot. Chris Simpson coming home in 3rd, and Gordy Gundaker. All right, you see race number 3 over there in the staging chutes. Make sure if you're here with us tonight, swing down by the MLRA Series trailer or by the Where's Machine Scale and Tech area after the race tonight. Grab your MLRA apparel. We'll also be out here tomorrow night. Make sure you swing down and check out the folks at the Iconic Apparel Souvenir booth right here on the concourse coming up tomorrow night. Grab your MLRA Series apparel here at the Spring Nationals here at your Lucas Oil Speedway. All right, still sorting this one out on the starting grid. It looks like this. The guy that picked up your Swift Springs fast out of the night. That's the driver car number 49 out of Blairsville, Georgia. Jonathan Davenport on the pole position alongside the 8 machine out of Urbana, Missouri, Dylan McCowan. Scheduled for the inside of row number 2 out of St. Charles, Missouri, the 11th team Trevor Gundaker. Festus, Missouri, Jeff Herzog in car number 11. Back in row 3. That's going to be the driver of car number 8, Matthew Larson. Alongside the 25B of the youngster Chevy Boyer, starting in position number 6. Back in row 4, the 28, Jim Greenway, 51C of Mississippi's Dean Carpenter, and Sawyer Krigler in car number 11, going to round out the starting grid. 9 cars, 8 laps the distance. All right, looks like it looks to be the 8 machine of McCowan in the wrong heat race. We'll go to heat race number 4. Wrong tire. Excuse me. We will get an update on that one here shortly. So crisscross on this one. So developing story right there. A wrong tire compound on the 8 machine of Dylan McCowan. We'll send him back to the Weir's Machine Tech and Scale area as we go lights out. So that'll slide up Trevor Gundaker to the outside front row. Puts Jeff Herzog right there in the inside of row number 2. And slides up Matthew Larson to the outside of row 2. All right, lights are out. VP Race Fuel starts a drama already here in heat race number 3, your Midwest Hoosier Tire heat race number 3 off the exit of turn number 4. Davenport takes his green alongside of Gundaker. Battle for the outside of the front row. Tonight's $7,000 win. MLRA Spring Nationals kickoff. Davenport not going to waste any time in this one as he jumps out in front over Gundaker. Larson back to the 3rd spot. Right now on lap number 4, Jeff Herzog, your final qualifier on lap number 1 in the 4th spot. Good battle right there with the 3rd, 4th spot down the back straightaway. Larson, one of the drivers behind the MLRA Rookie of the Year crown. In position number 3, Jeff Herzog. That Longhorn chassis down the inside. Great side-by-side battle off the exit of turn number 2, Larson. His first trip out here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks, trying to race his way in as Jonathan Davenport. Scooting away from the field pretty quickly, and that's with 2.047 seconds the advantage for Superman. As he's stretching things out as he quickly brings us to the halfway point here in heat race number 3. See Gundaker right there, just crossing underneath the stripe. Larson stretching it out a little bit. Now Herzog back in the 4th spot, starting to feel a little pressure from Chevy Boyer in car number 25. Boyer, the 17-year-old youngster out of New Haven, Missouri, will be micro sprint ranks. Trying to race his way into an MLRA feature event here for the first time tonight. 6 down, this time by Jonathan Davenport. Friday night's cruise down back roads of Wheaton, Missouri. Driving the A-Store in front of the 49. Solid run right there from Gundaker. Former MLRA Series winners, both these drivers taking the white flag for the final time down back straightaway here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. Checkered flag awaits. Driving the Double Motorsports, Ace Ford, hauling in the ring, ASC Warranty, Hoosier Ag Solutions number 49. Davenport will grab the win here at Hoosier Tire, heat race number 3. Davenport grabs the win. Gundaker, Trevor Gundaker in the 2nd spot. We've got some drama down the front straightaway on this one after the checkered flag. Matthew Larson into position number 3. And Jeff Herzog grabs the 4th and final qualifying position in car number 11. So Herzog in the 4th spot right in front of Chevy Boyer. Matthew Larson racing his way to his first MLRA feature event. Trevor Gundaker and Jonathan Davenport, your winner here in Hoosier Tire. Heat race number 3, all top 4. We're going to head over to the Weir's Machine Scale and Tech area tonight. And it's Jeff Herzog going in the spin cycle down the front straightaway. Not happy with Chevy Boyer on this one. He'll nose into Boyer down the front straightaway, make some contact right there, and try and get the right rear as well in that one. So a couple of drivers with some heated tempers right there as they come to the line for that final transfer spot. Unofficially, looks like Herzog got it. As he slides into that spot over Chevy Boyer in car number 25. Boyer will be up on that front row in one of tonight's B-main events. All right, Weir's Machine Heat Race number 4. Roll out onto the Speedway. Rolling from the pole position tonight, the driver out of Manhattan, Kansas, the Mozart Ford Sunoco Race Fuels XR2 rocket. It's going to be Chase Younghans in car number 18. He will be flanked alongside the driver out of Lebanon, Missouri, the 56 car, Tony Jackson Jr., your current MLRA Series point leader and 2-time Series champion. Starting in the 3rd spot out of Harcourt, Iowa, it's going to 4TW of Tim Ward, alongside of Ainsworth, Iowa's Derek Stewart in car number 43. All right, so Amelia Eisenschenk, Jackson Earl, Matt Menzie, Justin Reed, scratch on Derek Stewart. So a little bit off on the lineup right there. Apologies for that. Derek Stewart, a scratch here in heat race number 2 for the outside row number 2 for the Ainsworth, Iowa driver that puts Tony Jackson Jr. alongside the 18 to start. We are green for the final heat race of the night. Tony Jackson Jr. to the outside. Chase Younghans working the bottom side. Younghans will give way off the exit of turn number 4. New racing on lap number 1. That's your current MLRA point leader, Tony Jackson Jr. He'll show way down back straightaway in number 56. Younghans right back down to the bottom side. He's going to make Jackson fight for every inch of this one. Both drivers starting to feel the pressure from Tim Ward, the driver out of Harcourt, Iowa, car number 4. Tim Ward, Longhorn chassis, Halliburton power underneath the hood. top three. Slowly starting to stretch away. Jackson Earl right now back to their fourth and final qualifying position is Young Hands. Hanging right there with Tony Jackson Jr. Down to the inside, Jackson just got that momentum wound up on the top side. That Longhorn is really hooked up off the exit, turn number 4. Jackson able to put a little distance right there down the back straightaway, but Young Hands right there with him every step of the way. Last time by, just under a half a second the advantage for Tony Jackson Jr. 4.50 this time, 4.73. So a little bit quicker that time for Jackson. Young Hands back down to the inside. Great race between the Missouri and the Kansas hot shoe right here on the exit at turn number 4. About to see 2 laps to go for TJ. Tony Jackson Jr. 2 away from lining up on the outside of run over 2 and tight 30 lapper. Jackson undefeated in MLRA action all the season, swept the whole entire weekend of the Springfield Raceway last month as he takes the white flag. One more time down back straightaway to try and hold off the 18 machine. Chase Young Hands off the exit of 4. Weir's machine. Heat race number 4. Send it home to Tony Jackson Jr. gets the win. Chase Young Hands in second. Tim Moore with a great run rounds out the podium in position number 3. And Jackson Earl will race his way in to tonight's A feature event. You see it right there. The driver, car number 56, started on the outside front row of the all-guy performance. Sloop Enterprises, Icon Graphics, Merrill Bonding, car number 56. Your winner is going to be Tony Jackson Jr. Jackson, Chase Young Hands, both running their way into the feature tonight. Tim Ward and Jackson Earl also into the feature. And Amelia Eisenschink, she had a good run there in the 5th spot, line up on the front row. Her B-main event tonight, Justin Reed, Matt Minzy, and Derek Stewart rounding out the running grid. A little bit of cleanup right here. We'll go back to heat number 3. We talked about issues with the 8 machine. Dylan McCown was not allowed to start that race because the tire rule does not allow a 2 compound. He had a right rear Hoosier number 2 compound on. That tire compound is not allowed. On the left rear, excuse me, it was on the left rear tire of the 8 machine, so did not show the staging chute with the correct tire compound on, so he is scratched from that. He will roll off from the backside of one of those B-mains tonight in car number 8. Shane, Legends time. Legend, just like you. Legend, back into the saddle, right?
Oh, man. You flatter me too much.
That's no age comment or anything like that.
You got that out of the way early whenever you came in. Half the size, twice the fun for the Legends cars as they roll out for their 2-heat event. First we'll have 7 cars in it. Next one we'll have 6. These will be 6-lap heats. And the first heat will feature Roy Thompson on the front row. He is out of Prairie Grove, Arkansas. Behind the wheel of the number 9, Matthew Bowen on his outside. And then number 17, he calls Springfield home. Seneca's Phil Berkebile Jr. will start in third with Jet Stovall outside of him in the 00. David Sappington and Corey Pope back in row 3. And Chance Gilbert rounds out the field as he will start in 7th. So off of turn number 4, these Legends cars will get wound up and get things started for their first of 6 laps around this 3/8-mile oval here at Lucas Oil Speedway. And the quick lead goes to the 17 of Matt Bowen in that teal coupe out front. Jet Stovall to the outside of Corey Pope, so Jet's up to 3rd. Had Jesse in that car earlier. It's actually his son, Jet. Jet out of Billings started racing a couple years ago. Had 5 Legends wins last year. And Chance Gilbert up to P1. C Motors around Matthew Bowen to the inside, but they will stay wheel to wheel down the backstretch and battle it out as they go diving in turn number 3, exit turn number 4, and Chance Gilbert, who had it by just a nose 1 lap ago, now out by 5 car lengths. Ahead of Matt Bowen. Corey Pope there in the 84, and Jet Stovall in the 00. Stovall drops a spot. He's back to 4th. And Matt Bowen just continues to lose track position. He gave up the lead 2 laps ago, and now he's fighting to hang on to second as Corey Pope picking the inside of him. Corey Pope's out of Clever. Meadow Magic PDR sponsors on the 84. A 2-time winner at Springfield already this season, so he's picked up a couple of victories on the year. He was a 2-time winner last year at Monette and Springfield. And Corey Pope rides along in third behind Matt Bowen. 3 cars duking it out for second. It's owned by Matt Bowen right now as Chance Gilbert wins heat race number 1. That's a quick 6 laps. And he wins by 1.5 seconds ahead of Matthew Bowen. So Chance Gilbert gets the job done. And heat race number 1 out of Galena, Kansas in that Comer's Auto Express Lambert's Tractor, Hellvision, and Audio Haas 01. A 6-time winner last year. He's on his way to a good run to get the evening started as he wins by a second and a half over Matt Bowen, Corey Pope, Jet Stowall, and Phil Berkey-Bile Jr. That is your top 5. David Sappington and Rory Thompson. Rory started P1 and ends up drifting back and finishes in 7th. One more heat race as they are in the staging area. Glad to have everyone along on an opening weekend for these Legends cars here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Only here for one night, won't be here tomorrow. We'll have the Show Me Vintage Racers replacing them tomorrow evening. As you see the cars roll out, and the starting grid for heat race number 2. 6 cars make up this one. Phil Uring and Eric Johnson scheduled to roll off on the front row. Keith Moline and Cody Moline, both out of Iowa, in the 33 and 533. In row number 2, Austin Aziz and Jordan Meyer. The 5th and 6th place starting in this heat race number 2. They've shuffled it around a little bit as Philip Uring was scheduled to be on the pole, but he's going to elect to go tailback in that Port of Kimberling Marina number 2 at Cape Fair. So Eric Johnson was supposed to start outside row number 1. They will shuffle up and deal and put Eric Johnson on P1. So this will be his race to start. And at this pace, it may be another 10 minutes before we start. Extremely slow through turns 1 and 2. Need to pick the pace up just a little bit. Race director Jerry Ballinger saying, hey, let's pick it up just a little bit. Lucas Oil start zones in between those 2 orange cones over in 3 and 4. That is where Eric Johnson is, and he decides to let the ponies run. The 6 Legends cars, 6 times around. And Eric Johnson, 2 car lengths ahead of Keith Moline in the 33, side by side for 3rd. And with Cody Moline and Austin Aziz, lap 1 will be led by Eric Johnson. Eric by 1 car length ahead of Keith Moline down the back stretch. Side-by-side battle for 3rd. So a pretty racy opening couple of laps as Cody Moline in that purple 533 has Austin Aziz right on his outside. And this has turned into now a 4-car battle for the top spot. Thought Eric Johnson and Keith Moline were going to hog the show all to their own, but Cody and Austin have gotten up into the mix. And Eric, a little bit of breathing room between he and Keith Moline for 1st and 2nd. Already got the 2 sticks in the air from Bryson Leftwich up on the flag stand. They'll see the white flag come out this time by. It's been all Eric Johnson. He's led all 5 laps so far. Can lead the last one with Keith Moline looking on his outside. He'll dive to the inside. Moline may have been trying to set him up into turn number 1 and out of turn number 2. Can Keith make one last-ditch run through 3 and 4? Eric Johnson will hold his line and hold his own, winning heat race number 2 ahead of Keith Moline. Eric Johnson led wire to wire after inheriting the lead, or the pole position, if you will, and he did not disappoint as 7J2 wins heat race number 2 by 0.2 of a second ahead of Keith Moline. Cody right behind him in the 5:33. Austin Aziz, Philip Gehring, and Jordan Myers. That is the field of 6 cars for heat race number 2 for the Legends. B feature time, and we will have one for the Hickamo Super Stocks. 16 cars are now locked in. Top 8 will move on from B feature for the Hickamo Super Stocks. It's a 10-lap B. And here we go for the B feature for the Hickamo Super Stocks. Jacob Combs out of Mountain Home, Arkansas will pair up with another Arkansas native and Chris Lloyd out of Peach Orchard. So an all-Arkansas front row with Combs and Lloyd. Danny O'Neill out of Niagara, Missouri with Tony Anglin on his outside out of Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. Tuscumbia's Peyton McDowell will start inside row number 3, and Mike Doherty on his right hand out of Warrensburg, Missouri, row 4. We'll have Morgan Campbell and Logan Thompson. Brian Worley starts inside row number 5. Alcoa Harris, who did not get to finish his heat race, is back out. He will start in 10th. And then Terry Williams was slated to roll off, but we saw him pop a motor in his heat race, so he does not make it out. 10 times around to determine the final 8 starting spots in our A main for the Hickamo Super Stocks. As Jacob Combs gets a challenge from a pair of ones, Chris Lloyd and Tony Anglin. Nearly identical looking cars, except the one for Chris Lloyd has a big X on the front of that number 1, and it is out in front by 2 car lengths ahead of Jacob Combs. Single file formation with Chris Lloyd, Jacob Combs, and Tony Anglin, your top 3. This is a good 4 or 5 car lengths back to Danny O'Neill and that wad of humanity from 3rd on back, or from 4th on back, I should say, with Thompson, Danny O'Neill, and Peyton McDowell. Chris Lloyd was here for the Big Buck 50 last year, got himself a 7th place run. He was 3rd in the Big Buck 50 back in 2019 in the A to Z Signs and More 1X. He won 6 times last year and already has a top 5 this season. And he has a 1.3 second lead built over the 10C of Jacob Combs. Jacob used to run an IMCA mod. Whenever he got his racing career started back in 22. It's a bullet chassis. Between the rails is the Ken Smith power plant for Jacob Combs. And then the Arkansas hot shoe, Tony Anglin, as Jacob Combs was running in 2nd, and he parks it sideways over in turn number 4. He had been running in a fairly safe spot to make his way into the A, but now the Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew will come out and see what's up with the 10C of Jacob Combs. And Jacob is underway. So Jacob will head to the tailback. Two cars will not make their way in from this B feature. So that means that Jacob Combs, who was running towards the front, just needs to get by a couple of cars to get back in to a transfer spot. Alcoa Harris and Mike Doherty are those two cars that he would have to pass for Jacob Combs to work their way in. And now a pair of team cars, Chris Lloyd and Tony England, sit 1 and 2. Peyton McDowell hunkered back in third. Through the Lucas Oil restart zone, green back in the air as we have gotten to the halfway point, 5 of our 10 laps for the Hickamo Super Stocks. Chris Lloyd ahead of Tony England, and Peyton McDowell is not going anywhere. Right up in that group. As Peyton, an 11-time winner last year, sponsored by Brandon McDowell Racing, Sloan Concrete, Swafford Trucking, and Technology by 21. Half a car length behind Tony England. And the 1X of Tony England finished second in points last year, and he came oh so close as Alcoa Harris is slowed on the racetrack and he comes to a dead standstill. Off the exit of turn number 2, you saw the lead lap cars pass him, and that will bring out the Midwest Sheet Metal caution. And then as the caution comes out, Alcoa Harris will get back underway. And there's the guilty party of the Midwest Sheet Metal caution coming out. Carrot Top, Alcoa Harris out of Conway, Missouri. And that Rat Pack chassis. Started racing back about 4 or 5 years ago. Harrison Sons Auto, Ozark Mountain Logging, and Shockley Harris Dozer sponsors on the 40. And he's going to have some things go his way as he sits back right now in 10th. Green flag in the air again with 3 laps left for Chris Lloyd. Race slowed by 2 Midwest Sheet Metal cautions, but it hasn't slowed Chris Lloyd down at all. Maybe breathing life back into Peyton McDowell as Tony England was squarely up into second, and now Peyton McDowell around him. Up 1 spot on the pylon to P2. Tony England back to third, and Brian Worley knocking on the door back in fourth, right behind the back bumper of the 1G of Tony England. One more circuit for Chris Lloyd. Off of turn number 4, top 8 are in to the A main, and how about a tough break for the 06 of Morgan Campbell. He was in the top 8, but he loses power on the last lap, and he will not make his way into the show. The one man that does is Chris Lloyd. Led all 10 laps of the B feature for the Hickamo Super Stocks. He will win it and lock his way in. He will start back in row 7. Peyton McDowell in second. Tony England third, Brian Worley and Logan Thompson, that's your top 5. Mike Doherty, Danny O'Neill, and Jacob Combs all in, so that is your 8 that make their way in. Morgan Campbell and Alcoa Harris both finished laps down And their night tonight is done. B features for the MLRA, as you see the 06 of Morgan Campbell. Heartbreak Hotel for him after he was in the top 8, lost power on that last lap, and he will not be able to make his way into the show. So the Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew will take care of the 06. Yeah, right rear damage. We said he lost power. He has right rear damage now. Didn't see that the way it was, but he slaps the wall, and he will be pushed off, and that will do it for the Hikmo Superstocks. And back into the saddle again is Billy Rock for the B features for the MLRA.
All right, Shane, first of 2 B features coming out here momentarily. Top 3 drivers out of each of these 2 B mains will move on to the A feature event tonight. And then a couple of MLRA Series provisionals. That is based off of current 2026 point standings after the first 2 rounds of the Springfield Raceway. 10 cars, 8 laps the distance. Each of these 2 B mains here tonight. And sitting on the pole position here in heat race number 1, the young lady out of Fargo, North Dakota, Layla Eisenshank. That takes the green in car number 15. She'll be alongside the driver out of St. Charles, Missouri, the Longhorn. That's the 11G of Gordy Gundaker. Back in row 2 out of Indianola, Iowa. That's the 20RT of Ricky Thornton Jr. Brendan Willard out of Limited, Missouri will be on his outside, car number 3W. Back in row number 3, Aaron Morant out of Richmond, Missouri, the 1X. Alongside the 1T of Tucker Cox. Thomas Langley, able to get the repairs made in the 19 machine. He's out for Glenn Powell, Joey Smith, and Chris Feder in car number 32. Caution lights are out. We are rolling through the VP race to the start zone. We are underway with B main number 1. Eisenshank going to show the way around. She will lead lap number 1. 18-year-old young lady, brand new Longhorn chassis out here this weekend. And she shows the way over Gordy Gundaker down back straightaway. Gonna have to chase the front end of the car right there up the bank. She hangs on to it. That Don Shaw trucking car number 15 sponsored in 2 down. 8 to go. So we're going 10 here in action here tonight. And right now, Ricky Thornton Jr. hangs on to that 3rd and final qualifying position in the 20RT machine. Eisenshank starting to really stretch things out here. First half of this B main is now you see Gordy Gundaker just on the outside of that screen right there, and here comes RTJ. Thornton down the inside of the Vanilla Cycles. Car number 11 of Gundaker. Great battle for second. Exactly what you want to see in that rear view mirror if you are Layla Eisenshank. Schooling the boys here at the Lucas Oil Speedway tonight. Here comes Thornton. He's going to throw it down the inside of Gundaker. Battle for second. Gordy going to cross it over off the exit at turn number 2. Great battle between the 11 and the 20. Thornton back up on the top side shelf. We are at 4 laps to go this time by. Eisenshank out in front by 2.9 seconds over Ricky Thornton Jr. Right now, Aaron Morant, first driver on the outside, looking in car number 1X. Thornton that time by 2.7 seconds to the rear. As Eisenshank showing the way, needs some downing shots, the 18-year-old. 5 wins a year ago. The IMCA Race Saver Sprint car has got experience for 10 sprints as well as she comes off the exit at turn number 4. White flag is out one more time around for Layla Eisenshank. Thornton working on the bottom side. He's going to field it out. He's going to come from deep into the field in the feature tonight. Gundaker trying to hang on to the final spot of the ladies. Ladies in the crowd, let's hear it. Big round of applause for the 15 machine of Layla Eisenshank. She gets the win here at B-Main number 1. Fargo, North Dakota driver racing her way in tonight's A feature event. over the 20 machine, Ricky Thornton Jr. and Gordy Gundaker grab that final transfer spot. Right there you see a race fans, the driver of car number 15 out of Fargo, North Dakota. She gets the win here in B main number 1 behind the wheel of the Ellingson Shot Trucking General Equipment, DKW Transport, O'Day Equipment, and Donnie Shots Motorsports. Longhorn Pro Power Entry, Layla Eisenshank, your winner here in B main number 1. Ricky Thornton Jr. rolled off third. He'll bring it home in that runner-up spot as Gordy Gundaker grabs the final spot as Aaron Morant going to have to rely on a potential provisional to get into the 24-car starting grid here tonight. Tucker Cox rounds out your top 5 in B main number 1. All right, second final B main after this. It is all a feature time tonight here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. Don't forget, we do it all over again tomorrow night, but we ratchet it up quite a bit. $7,000 to win tonight. Tomorrow night, $20,000 to win for your MLRA late models here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. All right, B-main number 2, it's going to look like this. Out of New Haven, Missouri, rolling from the pole position, the 25B, it's going to be Chevy Boyer. We'll see if we can do it back-to-back for the Eisenshanks as Amelia Eisenshank will roll from the outside of row number 1 and car number 1X. Row 2, the 51 of Dean Carpenter, the 1ST of Justin Reed. And row 3, Jim Greenway and Matt Minzy. Row 4, Sawyer Krigler, the 11 of the 43 of Derek Stewart. A scratch, and Dylan McCowan, car number 8. Will roll from the backside of the field. Looks like he's going to roll from way in the back as he should have a provisional lined up tonight if he should need it. Here off the exit of turn number 2 here on lap number 1 is Chevy Boyer. To show the way in car number 25, Justin Reed. Power move right there with the driver of the 1ST machine out of Camp Point, Illinois. He'll cross it over with Eisenshank down the front straightaway. Amelia Eisenshank down to the bottom side. Orange accents on the 1 machine on the bottom side. The 1ST Reed up on the top shelf. Battling for a qualifying position. Top 3 move on. Both of them are qualified right now, but here comes Dean Carpenter. Dean Carpenter, car number 51, Mississippi driver, down the inside, trying to race his way in. Carpenter, the 60-year-old driver, works the bottom side as we come across the loop, this time by 3 down, 5 to go. Getting crowded back for the final qualifying position. You see Matt Minzy in car number 41. Driver out of Cleveland, Missouri. He's got some work cut out for him to race his way into this one. He's going to get right on the backside of Carpenter. It's underneath the backside of Dean Carpenter. You see that left rear fender damage as he goes to the outside. You got Jim Greenway back through car number 28 as well. And it's out in front. This one is all Chevy Boyer. Halfway home, 5 down, 5 to go. 16.38 seconds for the lap time last time by. He is out to a 3.074 second advantage over Justin Reed. Amelia Eisenshank trying to join her sister in the starting grid here tonight at Lucas Oil Speedway. Minzy back there in the 5th spot as we'll come to 3 to go this time by. Keeping an eye on that 51 machine of Carpenter. 1 spot out. He is going to have to race his way in the starting grid on this one. Dylan McCown has already taken his Sonic Empire Energy number 8 off the racetrack. Going to rely on that provisional spot hopefully to get into the show tonight. The driver out of Urbana, Missouri, as we continue to watch the 17-year-old Chevy Boyer, just his 2nd year behind the wheel of his super late model. As one more time around, the white flag is out for Chevy Boyer. Justin Reed, pretty comfortable right there in the 2nd spot. Now you're watching the heat on the backside of Amelia Eisenshank. Dean Carpenter, final time through turn number 1 and 2. Checkered flag is already waving down the front stretch for Chevy Boyer. He's moving on. Question now, the final transfer spot off the exit of turn number 4. Carter down to the inside. 2nd, we'll go to Reed. 3rd, we'll go to Eisenshank. She races her way into the last A-main event. Reed Carpenter, Matt Minzy, Jim Greenway, Sawyer Krigler, your top 7 on the racetrack. But how about it, race fans? The driver of car number 25, driver of the XR1 Rocket Mullins Power entry out of New Haven, Missouri, Chevy Boyer, getting the win here tonight. B-main number 2 as he will race on It's Justin Reed right around for the driver out of Camp Point, Illinois, in the 1ST, and Amelia Eisenschenk. And that Longhorn chassis will race her way into the feature tonight. Join her sister Layla Eisenschenk in the starting grid. 2 provisionals yet to go in on this one before we get ready for tonight's 30-lap, $7,000 to win A-main event here at the Lucas Oil Speedway.
All right, Billy Rock, thank you very much. 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all we've got here for intermission. Got to be a quick one, as not really a whole lot to do to the track. Looks pretty racy as it stands right now, so we're going to sit it down. Doug Neff is on his way down the stairs to take you through our intermission time, give you a chance to stretch your legs, grab something to eat, something to drink, head to Track Treasures, get you a souvenir, go down to the Diamond Bar, get you an adult beverage of your choosing. Before we have our 3 features, and Doug Neff will take us through our intermission time here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
$50-50 tonight, $460. Somebody's got to come with me. Going down to the winner, $460 going to the winner. Total of $460 earned, so $230 going to the winner. We're going to be giving it away here real quick. Great racing so far. MLRA Spring Nationals. So get your 50-50 tickets out. We're going to award somebody with some money here real quick. So $230 going to the winner. Oh, let's see here. Feels like a good one right there. Yellow ticket. Makes it easier to see. 488-102. 488-102. Take your ticket over to the table. They will award your money to you. 488-102. You are a winner. Congratulations. Great, folks. Oh. So FCCLA, Warsaw Edition, they did an awesome job here tonight. So thank you very much to them. Folks, as we get ready to go, told you earlier that Dr. Sam Alexander is here. He is running for State Senate. Nice gentleman. And if you like, they've got some t-shirts. They're going to be sending down to you from up there in that second row. So if you want, let them know you're out here. They're going to be throwing out t-shirts. Dr. Sam Alexander, right here in the area, running for State Senate. Up there on level 2. Looks like they are out. So don't forget, if you haven't got a chance, go talk to him. He is down here on the north end. Nice gentleman down there. Wants to turn it back to the people. So, folks, hopefully you're having a good time. Great racing so far means we've got 3 big feature events going to be coming your way. Don't forget, we're going to do it again tomorrow night right here. Night number 2 from the Diamond and Dirt Tracks in our 20th year with Lucas Oil Speedway. We're glad to have you along. 13th annual MLRA Spring Nationals right here. Send it over, get yourself something to eat or something to drink, go up and see concessions. Don't forget, happier hour is going to be coming up over at the Diamond Bar. $5 cans, $4 draws. If you feel the need for an adult beverage, get yourself some great merchandise, including those spring or MLRA National Spring shirts over at Track Treasures. As we get ready to go, second half action coming your way here tonight. $50-50 has been claimed. You can throw your tickets away. $50-50 has been claimed.
Well, just a touch of track work getting done here over in turns 3 and 4. Again, that is where the new landscaping took place over the off-season, and it took quite a while to get all of that worked in. The entire staff here at Lucas Oil Speedway worked feverishly on turns 3 and 4. And you can see Richard Turner out there right now doing the exact same thing, just getting some of the loose marbles up. Again, the surface now no longer has that ledge up at the top, so you can create a little bit of a berm up on that side, get some cushion. And drivers came out for the late models last night for their practice and said the track does drive a little differently than what it used to. And not only in 3 and 4 were things changed, but over in 1 and 2, a little bit of a different angle on the top side of turns 1 and 2. So for anybody in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series that's going to be here for Show Me 100 that came here this weekend, great little test tune. There you see 1 and 2. Still has that top shelf that you have to get on to exit the track, but they also did just a little bit of an angle up at the top, so it does have a little bit of a different feel to it. And the majority of the Hikmo Super Stocks are already in the staging area, and they should be rolling out here for their main event, first one of the season for the Hikmo Super Stocks. 20 times around is what they'll run, 40 laps for the late models, and then the Legends will wrap up the night with their 15-lap main event. And you see JT Carroll in the 94 starting to get some movement down there in the staging area. And he will lead the field of 24 Hikmo Super Stocks on this 3/8 mile oval. And out of 27 entries, we whittled it down to 24, and that will make up the starting grid for 20 times around for the A main for the Hikmo Super Stocks. Starting dead last in heat race number 1, starting in 9th, was JT Carroll. He went straight to the front, and all of those passing points is what has allowed him to start P1. He will do so to the inside of Blaine Ewing. That is road number 1, 94C of JT Carroll. Blaine Ewing on his outside. As the cars do roll out, and they're going to go right up to the top side, as that is where Richard Turner came out and did just a little bit of work in 3 and 4. So the Super Stocks were informed to go up to the top, pack it down a little bit before we let everybody loose. And then after they get off turn number 4, they will stack them side by side. That was road number 1 with Carroll Ewing. Mike Striegel and Terry Schultz. Mike Striegel was another one that in his heat race, after a late race caution, was able to gobble up a couple of more spots and earn a 3rd place starting spot with Terry Schultz on his outside. Ted Walshmeyer, who won his heat race, is going to have to start back in 5th. Will Smart on his outside. Derek Brown and Johnny Coates starting in row 4, Derek in 7th, Johnny Coates in 8th. Starting in 9th is Colton Borland and Johnny Finnerwald outside of him. The Big Buck 15 winner this last year will start at 10th. Donnie Miller and Kyle Downs in row number 6. Michael Muskrat, Jerry Brown, Jacob Rexing, and Burl Woods, your top 16. That was everybody that got locked in with passing points through the heat races. Coming through the B feature, Chris Lloyd in the 1X will start 17th with Peyton McDowell on his outside, Tony England and Brian Worley. Back in row 10, Logan Thompson, Mike Doherty, Danny O'Neill, and Jacob Combs. Your field of 24, locked and loaded, nose to tail. Side by side, JT Carroll has them slowed down. Nose out in front is Blaine Ewing, but JT Carroll decides when we get to race, he says it's time now. Three wide for second. Blaine Ewing the outside, Mike Striegel the inside of Terry Schultz. They swap paint, swap decals, bend some fenders through 3 and 4. Striegel has to lift and drop back to 4th. Will Smart, the 27S, goes all the way to the top shelf in 5th. And he will get a great run to the outside of Mike Striegel. Top side through 1 and 2 really got a good run for Will Smart. And Mike Striegel sniffs that out. Up to the top shelf he will go. Gets off the nose of Will Smart. Johnny Finwald the inside to 21. One car spinning around over in turn 4. We stay green. As this is still led up front. It has been all JT Carroll by half a second over Lane Ewing. Ewing tucks back in. 2 car leads behind JT. Terry Schultz to the 4. Another team car to Lane Ewing. Right to third. Mike Striegel 2 lanes lower than where Schultz is running. Toast along in 4th. Challenge for the lead. Lane Ewing looking at the inside of JT Carroll. The Midwest sheet metal caution will come out. And it comes out for the 9 of Kyle Downs. Kyle Downs, a past champion at Crowley's Ridge. That came in a late model back in 2020. 25 career victories for Kyle. And very reminiscent of what happened in the heat race. He was running up front in the heat and had some bad luck, had to drop back. And JT Carroll, who had built up a half a second lead over Lane Ewing, saw that lead absolutely evaporate. Went away in a hurry. As Blaine Ewing was looking at the inside when that Midwest sheet metal caution came out. We've ran 4 laps, 16 remained. As the Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew checking out turn number 2. JT's led her lap so far, but Blaine Ewing, track starting to come to him. Biggest mover so far has been Brian Worley, up 6 spots. He started in 20th. He's up to 14th already, and that's another team car. With Blaine Ewing and Terry Schultz, who's running 2nd and 3rd. Those Worley chassis are hooked up tonight. Race control still making sure everybody is lined out the way they need to be. So on these restarts, JT Carroll will have the front row all to his own, and then Blaine Ewing gets to choose, do I want to go inside or do I want to go outside? He chooses to go to the inside. Shovels Terry Schultz outside row number 2. Mike Striegel to the inside of Johnny Finwald. Ted Welshmeyer will be to the inside of Derek Brown. And then Will Smart, Donnie Miller, and Jacob Rexing. That is your top 10. JT Carroll's going to head off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, he will look up at the big Jumbotron, and he will see a pair of 4s, if you will. The 4 of Blaine Ewing and the 4-1 of Terry Schultz breathing down his neck. He'll start up the top side in turn 3, nose down once he sees that orange cone. And we're back underway through the Lucas Oil restart zone. Blaine Ewing and Terry Schultz side by side for 2nd. Mike Striegel going to give up a little bit of ground to Johnny Finwald. That's a battle for 4th. As the man on the move now is Terry Schultz. It was Blaine Ewing. Look at the inside of JT Carroll as 3 cars get wadded up. A couple of them taking evasive maneuvers into the grass. Logan Thompson's going to loop it around, and that will bring Midwest sheet metal caution out. And there's going to be some Midwest sheet metal needed for the 27S of Will Smart. Looks more like a B-mod right now than it does a super stock. As that nose completely torn up on the West Plain Natives 27S. So with Will Smart having a lot of cosmetic issues, he's just going to go ahead and make the right-hand turn, head down pit road, see if maybe, not sure if it's enough just to have somebody peel that sheet metal off or if there's more damage than what we can see. And he's going to go right past the hot pit, head back to his stall. So the evening done for Will Smart, the 27S. Jacob Rexing was involved in that a little bit. He's got some rear end damage, and he's going to stop at the end of the front stretch. Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew is there to peek the back end. And, yeah, that's more than just sheet metal. That's actual cage out on that side. He finishes top 3. I don't know if he's going to make weight. So damage on the 59. The 16 of Logan Thompson, he ended up stopping over in turn number 4, so he's going to have to go to the back. Logan Thompson picked up his first win of his career last year. It was a September race over at Midway. And the 94 of JT Carroll. He is looking for his first win since 2023. That year he picked up a couple of B-Mod feature wins. Five top 5s for JT last year. So even after that last restart, did not get another lap in. Caution came out prior to completing lap number 5. So where Terry Schultz was starting to challenge for the lead with JT Carroll on that last lap, he's going to have to now drop back to 3rd again because they did not complete a lap, giving 2nd back to Blaine Ewing. So this time, Blaine Ewing's going to change things up. He chose to go to the inside on the last restart. Did not pay off for him as Terry Schultz used that high line to challenge for the lead, and Blaine Ewing's not going to let that happen again. He chooses to go to the outside. Accordion effect from about 4 rows on back as JT Carroll had it nice and slow. And now we're underway, and yeah, Blaine Ewing learned what Terry Schultz did on that last restart. He's trying to take a page out of Terry Schultz's book. And Johnny Finewald from 5th up to 3rd. How about 5th to 2nd At this rate, Johnny Finewald is probably going to have the lead in another lap if JT Carroll can't find a way to hold him off. We ran 5 of 20 laps, and Johnny Finewald looking to make it back-to-back wins in Hickamo Superstock here at Lucas Oil Speedway dating back to last year. He won the Big Buck 50, and he grabs the lead on lap number 6. New leader, Johnny Finewald. JT Carroll shuffled back to second. Car slowed off the turn number 2. That's the 21. We've got a couple of them in this race. As challenge now, this is for third. Derek Brown has methodically worked his way up into the top 5. As he challenged Lane Ewing. Lane in third. Derek Brown in fourth. Derek Brown now around Lane. He's up to third. Cross flags this time by for Johnny Finewald. And the lead continues to grow for the Flash up to 1.6 seconds. And Mike Striegel, who was up in the top 5, he's dropped back to 8. He's lost a handful of spots. Team cars of Schultz and Ewing now ride third and fourth as Derek Brown, fourth and fifth as Derek Brown is up to third. Lap starting to wind down, and those 2 cautions back to back played right into the hands of Johnny Finewald. And JT Carroll's got some issues. He loses a couple of more spots. He was in second, and Brown, Ewing, and Schultz have all gone around him, and JT climbs the ladder. That will bring out the Midwest Sheet Metal caution as he is slowed on the track and barely underway as he comes off of turn number 4. So JT Carroll, who led the early laps, looking for his first win in 3 years, ends up giving up the lead to Johnny Finewald and bringing out the Midwest Sheet Metal caution for the 3rd time. JT Carroll off the track. His night's done, and now the question becomes, does anybody have anything for Johnny Finewald? He had built up, before that caution came out, over a 3-second lead ahead of JT Carroll. So 12 laps are down, 8 remain. Going back to the last completed lap to take JT Carroll out of the mix. And gonna think maybe just the way Derek Brown has moved up through the pack here in the late going, getting around the Ewing and Schultz tandem. Wonder if Derek Brown now might have something for Johnny Finewald. On that last restart, didn't look like anybody had the horses to keep up with Finewald. If there's anybody right now in that top 5 that might have something for Johnny, it's probably the 2nd place running Derek Brown right now, as Derek just blew past Ewing and Schultz. So double them up. Derek Brown chooses to go to the inside. And with the lights out, green flag furled in the hands of Bryson Leftwich up on the Foley Equipment flag stand. Johnny Finewald, one of the best at restarts, changing it up from time after time. This is his first time to get us back underway. Gets a rolling start through 3 and 4. With that start, he's going to fly out in front of Derek Brown. Derek's got to have 8 laps to try to reel in the Flash. New Danny Crane Racing engine for Derek Brown under the hood of the number 11. Ronnie Miller in the 26. He rides in 5th. With Schultz and Ewing in front of him. And the lead for Johnny Finewald grows by 0.2. It was at 0.9. Now it's at the 1.1. Difference between first and second, just about that big of a gap from second back to third. Johnny Finewald grows his lead by another 0.2. He's building it up by 0.2 of a second per lap with 5 laps to go. Across the line this time. Up to 1.7, so Johnny Finewald in control with 4 laps to go. Three-time late model champ here at the Diamond and Dirt tracks. High, wide, and handsome off of turn 2. We'll see 2 sticks from Bryson Leftwich this next time by. Four-time winner last year. He did those all here at Lucas Oil Speedway in 2 different classes. He wanted a stock car and he wanted a super stock. His last win came, the last race we had here on the circle track, and that was in the Big Buck 50. White flag is already shown for Johnny Finewald as he's about to catch up to the back of the pack, but he doesn't have to worry about passing a single car if he doesn't want to. He is on cruise control, and Johnny Finewald wins race number 1 of the 2026 season for the Hickamo Super Stocks. Takes advantage of a couple of cautions midway through the event, able to take over the lead from JT Carroll, who had some bad misfortune late in the race, and Johnny Finewald wins the first event of the season by over 3 seconds ahead of Derek Brown, Blaine Ewing in 3rd, Terry Schultz and Jacob Rexing rounding out the top 5. Donnie Miller hangs on for a 6th, Mike Striegel in 7th, Johnny Coates 8th, Burl Woods 9th, and Brian Worley, he was one of the biggest movers throughout the event today. Jacob Rexing and Brian Worley both improved 10 spots for their top 10 finishes. And Johnny Finewald going to have to cross the scales, make weight, and then he will head back out to the front stretch. That is where they are setting up victory lane here at the Diamond and Dirt tracks, and Johnny Finewald. Again, back-to-back wins for the Flash and Hickamo Superstock after winning the Big Buck 50 this past year, and then he will come out victorious in night number 1 here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Johnny Finewald will park it on the front stretch. Casey Schumann with some perfect product placement. Laurie Looney gets to present the oversized check after the big payday on night 1 of the racing season for the Super Stocks, and Johnny Finewald. Not only does he get to take home all the product, he gets to take home the check, but he gets to talk with Doug Neff here in just a minute. All right, folks, he can hear you as he climbs out from the cockpit of the 21. Tonight's feature winner is Johnny Finnewald. All right, Doug, let's hear what the Flash has to say.
We're down here with Flash. Johnny Finnewald, your winner in that Hickamo class. Man, great run. You started in 10th, moved your way through, got around, and just didn't look back.
Yeah, we had a really good car in the feature. In the heat race, boy, I didn't know what I was doing. Heck, I hadn't been in this thing since the Big Buck 50 last year. And, man, I went back there scratching my head. I couldn't even get out of my own way. And, we just had some stagger. I guess we put the wrong tires on there. And we was way too tight. And we freed it up there for the feature. And, man, they just kept on giving me good lanes. You know, everybody runs you clean. And it's always fun running Derek and Terry Schultz and Mike Striegel's in the super stock now, so he's another clean driver, you know. And then Blaine Ewing and JT Carroll is just, coming off those couple wins there a few weeks ago, and then coming back in a different car and winning again. It's pretty awesome. I wish my daughter and my wife was here. I got some good fans, good sponsors to thank here. Pal's True Value, Cedar Creek Beef Jerky, Scott Bailey Racing Engines, Cole Fisher Plumbing, JF Roofing and Gutters, can't even speak, Custom Carburetors, Dynamic Drive Lines, everybody that helps us with this, we couldn't do it without them.
Well, man, he showed why they call him the Flash. Johnny Finnewald, your winner.
Picture time for Johnny Finnewald. 2 features remain, the MLRA and then the Legends cars. Ask Billy to put the headset back on. I'm sure we'll talk about this tomorrow for the big event, but again, nice to see that 4-letter acronym of MLRA back on the series. It took a lot of work during the off season for this series to get back underway, and it's something that I think was much needed. It took a lot of work for you guys to get this thing going again.
Big hats off to Ernie Leftwich and the entire Leftwich family. They're the backbones of this, and Ernie had the passion for this, and knew that he wanted to be back with the MLRA family, and his entire family is the ones that have taken on this task, and a lot of kudos go to them, and pretty much the entire staff that was here back 2 or 3 years ago, I should say, back helping to make this thing a success. And a 40-car night to start the season off at Springfield. We're sitting here with 35 tonight. I believe we had 37 at the second night. Just a phenomenal start. Phenomenal appreciation from the drivers and the fans. People wanted this MLRA series back, and now they've got it back. And it's great to see the drivers coming out and supporting this. And, hey, there's always opportunities out there for more sponsors to jump on board. We'd love to go out and see a hard luck sponsor, somebody to pay off some of these guys that have bad luck going down the road. But if you're interested in jumping on board and helping to support the MLRA series, get a hold of Ernie Leftwich. Hit us up on Facebook. Make sure you go out there. It is a brand new Facebook page, trying to grow that presence as well. So make sure you go out there and like the MLRA, Midwest Late Model Racing Association page on Facebook as well. And go out there and keep up with the latest and the greatest, and see where we're going next.
And Ernie and Missy and you make this thing look so easy whenever you guys come in. But can't say enough about how much time, effort, and money behind the scenes it takes to make something. It may not seem like it's a big production, but this really is a massive production whenever you have to take into consideration everything where you guys were pretty much starting from the ground floor up.
I think you hit it right there. This was pretty much a start from scratch effort. Ernie had to go out and secure all new sponsorships and things like that to get this thing happen, and working with the tracks. And that's the great thing about having a good relationship with the tracks and the promoters, and they know what to expect when they hire the MLRA and they bring in an MLRA sanctioned event. And, it got started a little late this year, probably November, and I can only imagine where this thing's going to go in 2027 with a full season. I think these tracks, these fans are going to see the MLRAs out there, and I think you're going to see a lot of people wanting to help add to the dates in 27.
And I think it says a lot about the series itself when you see a guy like this roll out for the first time back here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks.
Exactly. Jonathan Davenport, a good guy to have here tonight as we kick off racing action at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. Jonathan Davenport's going to be a guy to keep an eye on, as he's going to have the catbird seat out here on the front row for tonight's 40 lap. I think I may have said 30 earlier, but it's a 40 lap, $7,000 to win feature tonight. Coming up tomorrow night, we'll turn it up to, I believe, 60 laps, and it's going to be $20,000 going home with one driver tomorrow night. 35 here tonight. Always be great to see a few more drivers drop in tomorrow night. A lot of racing going on throughout the Midwest this weekend, so A lot of choices for drivers, but we're proud and glad to have all these drivers, all 35 of these drivers, out here with us tonight at the Diamond and Dirt Tracks. Trying to get all 27 cars out on the racetrack here. We've got 3 emergency provisionals starting this field tonight, so a full field of drivers set to do battle. Some drivers trying to keep themselves up there in the point standings early on that may not have had the greatest qualifying effort tonight. But they will all be out there vying for championship points and that $7,000 payday. And a first-time pole sitter here tonight. The driver's going to roll off from that Sandcrest trailer sales pole position for the first time in his career with the MLRA banner. What a heat race run for Steve Stoltz out of Peoria, Arizona. Looking for his first career MLRA win as we go ahead and set the starting grid for tonight's 40-lap A-main event. On the pole out of Peoria, Arizona, it's going to be Steve Stoltz in car number 78. He will be flagged by the driver out of Blairsville, Georgia. That's going to be Jonathan Davenport in car number 49. Back in row 2, out of Earlham, Iowa, the 22 of Daniel Hilzebeck. And your current MLRA point leader and 2-time series champion, Tony Jackson Jr. out of Lebanon, Missouri. Back in row 3, Caden Klatt, car number 50 out of Edina, Missouri. And Trevor Gundaker, T-Rev, out of St. Charles, Missouri, in car number 11. Back in row 4, that's the 15 of Clay Stuckey out of Shreveport, Louisiana. And the outside, it's going to be the 18 car of Chase Young, hands from Manhattan, Kansas, in an XR2 Rocket. Back in row 5, 58 of Garrett Alberson in the 8L of Matthew Larson. And back in row 6, Oxford, Iowa's Chris Simpson in car number 32 in the 4T Dub. That's Tim Ward out of Harcourt, Iowa. In row 7, the 10 of Don Geist from Burlington, Colorado. And Jeff Herzog out of Festus, Missouri in car number 11. And in row 8, making his first MLRA start out of Chelsea, Iowa, it's going to be Dallin Murdy in car number 13 and the 0 car of Jackson Ertl. Back in row 9, it's going to be Layla Eisenshank and Chevy Boyer, the 15 and the 25. Race fans, get up on your feet. The Lucas Oil Speedway welcomes back the MLRA to your Diamond and Dirt Tracks right here in Wheatland, Missouri. 4 wide salute down the front stretch. Steve Stoltz, Jonathan Davenport, going to take you to the green here tonight for the MLRA, the Midwest Late Model Racing Association. Proud to be back here in the backyard of the Diamond and Dirt Tracks. Sliding on back through that starting lineup, back in row number 10. Keep an eye on Ricky Thornton Jr. He's going to have 40 laps to make something happen, but the driver out of Indianola, Iowa, will roll off in 19th to his outside. Amelia Eisenshank out of Fargo, North Dakota in the 1 machine. And back in row 11, St. Charles, Missouri's Gordy Gundaker and Dean Carpenter in car number 51. Starting in the 12th row, the 1X, Aaron Moran, the 8 of Dylan McCown, both provisional starters. Also emergency provisionals tonight, Brennan Willard, Sawyer Krigler, and Joey Smith, completing the 27-car starting grid. Justin Reed, one of the drivers that did qualify second in the B main event tonight, but another driver that did not have the designated tire on his left front, so his qualifying effort was disallowed. So Justin Reed gives way, and that allowed the 51 of Dean Carpenter to slide into that 3rd and final qualifying spot from B main number 2. All right, we go lights out. We'll see if we can take this one green to checker. We'll keep an eye on those Midwest sheet metal cautions. Keep an eye on the VP Race Fuel start zone. As everybody in a vie for that Randy Davison Trucking Winners check down there in Premier Flatwork Victory Lane. Lights out, Steve Stoltz, Jonathan Davenport. MLRA action, 3 wide at the line, back underway here in Wheatland, Missouri. Great start by Daniel Hilzebeck. Takes advantage, goes out in front down the back chute, but Jonathan Davenport not going to have any of that. Superman out in front. He will lead lap number 1 here in Wheatland. Tony Jackson Jr. going to work the top side of car number 56. Down to the inside, we've got the 50 of Caden Klatt, rounding out your top 4 here on lap number 1. Davenport quick to get himself out in front as you watch Jackson right there. As we said, he picked up 2 wins in the opening weekend at Springfield Raceway. Jumped out to the point lead here early on as he vies for his 3rd career MLRA Series championship. It's Davenport picking him up and putting him down here early on. Davenport stretching it out. Last time by 1.4 seconds, the advantage over Daniel Hilsebeck, the driver out of Earlham, Iowa. This time by at the stripe, over a 2-second advantage is now Davenport's going to see himself hitting on some heavy lap traffic here momentarily. We've got him sitting here back 2-3 wide at the backside of the track. Backside of the pack, guys just trying to keep in front of Davenport. They don't want to get that lucky dog if the caution comes out. We've got him threading the needle throughout the backside of this pack, but Davenport going to have his work cut out for him as he makes his way into lap traffic here on lap number 6 coming up. You see Steve Stoltz right there. Battling it out as you got a car off the pace in turn 1. It's going to be the 8 of Dylan McCowan. Dylan McCowan coming to a stop in turn number 2. He will bring out tonight's first Midwest Sheet Metal caution of the race. A tough night for Dylan McCowan. Took a provisional spot to get into the show, and he brings it to a halt. As looks to be no fire underneath the hood on that Sonic Empire Energy machine of Dylan McCowan. As that'll bring out your first caution of the night, just as Davenport was getting towards the backside of the field, about ready to make his way into lap traffic here on lap number 6. So McCowan getting some assistance off the speedway. We will see if he makes a stop over in the Weir's Machine Tech area or if he goes straight back to his crew. As you see some fluid right behind the tow truck, you're going to see some fluid when they move out of the way. So looks to be a terminal failure for the 8 machine of McCowan as his night going to end up on a hard right-hand turn back to the pits as we see Jonathan Davenport. What a great start, though, for the 22 of Daniel Hilsebeck. Jumps out the lead on the first lap, settles into that second spot.
Boy, what a roller coaster of a day for Dylan McCowan.
Kind of the same way it was at Springfield, Missouri for him at the beginning of the season. He had a good rally back and, was working his way through the field when that caution came out there, Shane. Just a tough way to end the night. That crew's going to have to go back to work and see what they can do for Saturday coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever it was that caused him to drop off the track, they're putting the dry dirt down, soaking up that fluid over in turn number 2.
Looks like he was up to the 19th spot at the time of that caution for a driver that had to take a provisional to get into the show tonight. So
great start to this race for Daniel Hilsebeck also. Great opening lap. Jonathan Davenport able to get back around him, and once he did, built up a 2.6 second lead over Hilsebeck, but a good start to the race for him. Tony Jackson Jr. up to 3rd, and then Caden Klatt, who had one of the faster times during qualifying, still securely up in the top 5.
We talked about it too, the troubles earlier on tonight. Ricky Thornton Jr. really had his struggles in qualifying, and heat race action came through the B right now. Thornton showing in the 15th spot, currently the Snack Products Hard Charger of the race, just 5 laps in. If you're a guy like Ricky Thornton Jr., you gotta want to see these cautions compounding right now just to kind of continue to help you get a little bit closer to the front of this one. As we go lights out, Davenport going to bring us back to the green after this first Midwest Sheet Metal caution of the feature. 5 down, 35 laps to go. Driver out of Blairsville, Georgia. Good opportunity right here for Jackson to try and make something happen, but all for naught right there as your top 2 drivers able to stretch it back out here quickly once again. And now you're watching Caden Klatt. He's going to pull the aggressive slide job on Tony Jackson Jr. Jackson will drive it down to the inside, down here in turn number 1. As crossovers continue, but don't look now. Here comes that 15 machine.
Working his way up through the pack. Slides across Tony Jackson. And again, with the reconfiguration, you're already starting to see, especially here in the early going, a little higher on the track through 3 and 4, nearly grazing the wall as they exit turn 4. And then this track also is almost like it's longer since they had to extend those turns. Once you come off of turn number 4, that has a little bit of a different feel to it than what that has had.
And I think you've seen it right there, Shane. It allowed Tony Jackson Jr. to do a little bit more of a longer slide, slid clear up to the top side of turn number 4, and it was still able to catch him. He was still able to get a good run off the corners as you see Jackson working through turn number 3 and 4. He'll float, clear clear up to the top side of that as he hangs on to that spot. As now we see for the first time tonight Garrett Albertson working his way inside the top 5.
Albertson up to 5th, Clay Stuckey in 6th, and then Chris Simpson, last hot shoe of the MLRA. He's up in the top 10, working his way towards the front. Jonathan Davenport, 3.3 seconds now ahead of Daniel Hilsebeck. It doesn't take long with a field this size to catch up with lap traffic, and Jonathan Davenport's got his hands full as he's at the back end of it.
Well, he has extremely got his hands full off the exit at turn number 2, makes his way around Joey Smith. And right now, I think he's trying to put as many cars between himself and second running Daniel Hilsebeck as quickly as he can. Fortunately, right there, he's quickly put about 6-7 cars between himself and the 22 of Hilsebeck. As Hilsebeck back there solidly in the second spot. Jackson, Klatt, and Albertson rounding out your top 5. Davenport right now in turn number 3 is Don Geist off the racetrack. Looks like he's got some flames from sparks underneath the 10. We'll see if we can stay green on the speedway, and we will, as Don Geist in the 10G machine off the racetrack and out of this one.
What a turn of events for Stoltz, who was running up front, had a great starting spot in this, and he is just pretty much nowhere to be found as far as what he's been able to do here in this first half of the race.
You mentioned it earlier, a couple of Iowa drivers right there. You've got Chris Simpson working the top side. He swept the entire fall weekend here last year. I believe that was the Ron Jenkins Memorial in car number 32. Same car he had that weekend, same 2025 Longhorn chassis, and right behind him is Dallin Murdy, the game changer, the youngster driver of the Bruning Rock Products number 13, a 6-time winner a year ago with the Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series up in the Hawkeye State.
And Tony Jackson Jr. is coming. Downfall right now is he is a far cry behind Jonathan Davenport, but if there's any driver that's methodically worked their way to the front, it's Tony Jackson Jr. who's up in the second.
Davenport going on attack of 16th running Gordy Gundaker down the front straightaway as he'll make the move down there and look to continue working through the field. But man, you see it right there, Jackson working that top side. We're about to start banging some spoilers on this one. Is that beautiful neon fluorescent spoiler on Jackson's 56 indicative of your point leader right there as he works his way down the backstretch. Currently running in position number 2.
Across the nose of Jackson, Erdl barely clears him. And the way it's going right now, just looking at lap time, is Jonathan Davenport is still adding about a half a second to a second advantage every single lap. It was 7.9 seconds last time, and Jonathan Davenport now 8.3 seconds, so another half a second tacked on to that lead. He is just continuing to pull away from Tony Jackson Jr.
Tim Ward off the racetrack and out of this one, the 4TW as well. As you look back up there towards the front, the battle for the podium right now belongs to Daniel Hilsebeck in car number 22 as he works to the backside of Jackson Erdl to put him a lap down as Albertson up to the 4th spot, and Klatt hanging on to a top 5 position. I'll tell you what, this is a great racetrack with the rain that we had last night. It's really widened out. You've got some guys who run the top side. You got a lot of movers and shakers working the bottom side of the quarter entry, and you can only imagine what we're going to see tomorrow night, Shane, when we turn it up for 60 laps.
And obviously they're finding the speed at the top of the track, but if you look at how even a Caden Klatt, who is still running top 5 over in 1 and 2, he's down to the bottom of the track. He's trying to search around and find where he can pick up some speed as Robertson to the inside of Hilsebeck side by side across the line.
Ricky Thornton Jr. update right there, up to position number 8, started back in the 20th spot. Like we said, he would love to see another one of those Midwest sheet metal cautions. Try and bunch this one up a little bit as Davenport continuing to show the way. Working his way through the field on this one as he's got it out to a commanding lead in this one. Looks like we got 24 down, 16 laps to go in tonight's $7,000 to win main event.
Just imagine what an extra 20 laps tomorrow is going to be like for this track. Again, they're still trying to figure out just how to prepare it as best as they can with the new clay and the new running surface, if you will, over in 3 and 4. This is going to be a process that Richard Turner is going to have to go through, but they're getting feedback from these drivers, and they've got it extremely racy tonight. I can only imagine it's going to be better tomorrow.
So right now you got Jackson exiting turn number 4 as Davenport already through the middle of turns number 1 and 2, working the bottom.
just to give you a little bit of an indication of how big the advantage is for Jonathan Davenport, as he is not backing down, continues to put drivers a lap down. And Tony Jackson Jr. not going away. You know, if you're Jonathan Davenport, you got to keep your foot in this one, because he has no idea right now how close Tony Jackson Jr. is, maybe I should say is it, but at one time that lead was at 7 seconds back to second place. Tony Jackson Jr.'s got it down to 4.3 seconds as we wind this one down with just 12 laps to go next time by.
Hasn't quite cut the lead in half, but it's getting close. It was up close to 9 seconds, now just inside 5.
Jackson, Alberson, Hilsebeck, and Klatt. Right now, your top 5 as we check on that hard charger standings right now. Go throughout the field. Ricky Thornton Jr. currently into position number 6. How about the charge? Up 13 spots. Right now, your Scat hard charger, Joey Smith, in car number 3. He took an emergency, currently up 10 spots. So a good run right there for the driver of car number 3, Joey Smith. Jackson working his way down the back straightaway, going to come up on the Aaron Morant machine. Gordy Gundaker right there as Davenport across the line already as Steve Stoltz, your pole sitter. He's going to be off the pace and out of this one. Looks like he'll make it to the infield and keep us green on the Speedway. As Davenport continuing to stretch out that groove on the top side of the Speedway, widening out ever so much with just 9 laps to go.
And did you think in a race like this that we would be saying Ricky Thornton Jr. is about ready to go a lap down?
No, I would not have. Not coming in here today. A lot of people had Ricky Thornton Jr. tabbed to be obviously one of the favorites tonight. He is making it towards the front, but he had to do it the hard way tonight. So a guy that they're going to regroup tomorrow. He'll be a guy to keep an eye on for that $20,000 to win tomorrow night, definitely. You see now Garrett Alberson trying to find that back bumper of Tony Jackson Jr. and find himself in that Wasilla Valley Transportation 58 into a runner-up spot at the podium on this one. Great battle. How about the 3-wide battle off the exit of turn number 4? Alberson down to the inside. As Gordy Gundaker going to slide right up in front of Jackson. That'll kind of be a pick move right there for the 58 of Alberson. As Garrett Alberson out of position number 2. Jackson back in the 3rd spot.
What a fun night here at Lucas Oil Speedway. 3 and 4 different lines you can take. Sliding around on both ends of the track, getting 3 and 4 and even 5 wide at times. What a great racing surface we've got here for the opening night.
Especially this lap traffic really creating a lot of work for these drivers as they continue to navigate, make a wrong decision, make a right decision. You got to continue to make the right choices. As right there you see Garrett Alberson threading that needle as he works his way around. Gundaker Jackson slipping back just a little bit. Right behind him is going to be Hilsebeck and now Ricky Thornton Jr. into the top 5 of the 20R team machine after starting back in position number 20. It's not over yet. Still 3 laps to go out here at the Diamond Dirt Tracks.
9-second lead now for Jonathan Davenport ahead of Garrett Alberson. Another half a second back to Tony Jackson Jr. All but clear sailing right now for JD.
JD about to get out the Friday night broom on this one. Picked up the quick time, picked up his heat race win as he is 1 lap away. A white flag out this time by for Jonathan Davenport as he takes that Nutrient Ag Solutions car number 49 down the back straightaway one final time through turn number 3 and 4 as he pulls up on the backside of Clay Stuckey, picking up the $7,000 MLRA payday at the Diamond Dirt Tracks. It's going to be Jonathan Davenport grabs the big win here on night number 1. Davenport the win. Garrett Alberson will hold on and grab second over Tony Jackson Jr. Still working our way across the line. Ricky Thornton Jr. up to 4th at the line. He will edge out Daniel Hilsebeck. Puts him up to 4th. Hilsebeck back to 5th. But race fans, tonight was one man. It was all about Superman. Jonathan Davenport, the driver out of Blairsville, Georgia, gets the job done as he will head over to the Weir's Machine Scale and Tech area to make it official. The outside pole sitter gets the win of the Double L Motorsports Ace Doran Hauling and Rigging ASE warranty. Car number 49. Big win for Jonathan Davenport here at the Wheatland.
Looking at the top 10, whenever you start with 20 plus and you only end up with 7 on the lead lap, that is pure domination from Jonathan Davenport. after starting on the front row, P2, and just cruising through the field, winning by, it ended up being 7.5 seconds. It was close to 10 seconds by the time it was all said and done. And Jonathan Davenport will win night number 1. Got a good feel for the track, and he was rim riding around the top side, something we have not seen here at Lucas Oil Speedway before. The practice session last night proved fruitful for these guys to figure out what they needed to do on this track. And Jonathan Davenport winning ahead of Alberson, Tony Jackson Jr., Ricky Thornton Jr., and Daniel Hilsebeck. That's your top 5 on night 1 of the 13th annual Spring Nationals from here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Cross the scales and then head back out. Caden Klatt, who finished 6th, still out on the track. His car parked on the back stretch. Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew going to have to go tend to him. Billy Rock making his way down to the front stretch. And still waiting for your top finishers to make their way back out after getting across the scales. They'll have to go through the room of doom by night's end. One last check to make sure all is good through the tech barn. And Jonathan Davenport taking the long way around, as he will head back out, winning night number 1. And Jonathan Davenport just has a knack here at Lucas Oil Speedway. He is able to usually start up front, has this place dialed in. A new wrinkle on the track this year, but Jonathan Davenport got it figured out, and got it figured out in a hurry. To the front stretch we will go as Jonathan Davenport parks it in front of the Victory Lane banner here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. Billy Rock is already down there in the signature move of Jonathan Davenport, bringing the steering wheel out, victorious on the hood of the 49. We'll get to see it up close and personal here on FloRacing, and the rest of the crowd here at Lucas Oil Speedway about ready to make some noise. Let's go ahead and send it down to Billy Rock as Jonathan Davenport ready to come out from the cockpit.
Driver of the AS Dorn, hauling and rigging, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Midwest Sheet Metal. Car number 49 heading back to Victory Lane, picking up the $7,000 opener here at the MLRA Spring Nationals, the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. About to climb from the car, pick up his Randy Davidson Trucking $7,000 check and Premier Flatwork Victory Lane. Race fans, make some noise. Your A feature winner tonight, Jonathan Davenport. Putting on a clinic here tonight in Wheatland. "40 laps, Jonathan. 7 were left standing on the lead lap with you at the end. How awesome was this race car tonight?"
It was way better than I was, apparently. We wasn't very happy with it last night. We still had some bugs to work out of it, but my guys put their heads together and worked really hard today. We didn't know if we was going to get to race or not. So the good Lord gave us a little extra traction, and we needed it all there. You know, it got to where I think the racetrack was really about to take a big turn there in the next 5 or 6 laps, because I could just about stay up with the lap cars kind of through the middle down there. And there was a couple of times I could kind of stay with them on the bottom, but it got burned up pretty quick. So hats off to the track crew. I mean, they got a lot of rain today, as you've seen. But yeah, just an awesome job from my guys. Once again, you know, we kind of made this a tradition. We always build a car after speed weeks, and we come here because we know we're going to get a great racetrack, and we come here to test it and get ready for the show me. So once again, thanks to my guys. They do an awesome job all the time. Longhorn Chassis and Longhorn Dynamics, they send us some stuff just to try to work with, because we feel like we got speed, but we always could be a little bit better.
Talking about that lap traffic a little bit tonight, that was probably your biggest competition. You had a lot of decisions to make after we went 35 laps at the end of this one. It really made it hectic on you, a lot of decision making out there.
Yeah, it was, but I was just, you know, being patient but aggressive at the same time. When I could, I knew if I could slide them down here, obviously they could see me for a long time. And over here, you kind of sneak up on somebody if you slide them getting in two. So just made sure, you know, they saw me, they knew who I was, so they didn't try to, you know, cross me back over or whatever, because obviously they're going to get a big run down this front straightaway. But thanks to them for everybody racing me clean there. Really didn't have much problems there. Once I seen Ricky and then I could see the board where everybody was, I got a little bit more patient with them then too. So luckily our car was really good. We had a big gap, so I wouldn't have to get after it too much. But just want to say thanks to Lance and Darrell Landers, Steve with Nutrient Ag Solutions, and you know, first and foremost, Ace Duran for coming on board this year. So we got new colors, new look, and new sponsors. So it's great for them to come out. I'm not even sure which engine I got in. Coronet or Clemens, they both do an awesome job for us. Got to thank ASC Warranty, and like I said, Bill Stein, Longhorn Dynamics, all of our other sponsors. Can't thank them enough. Thanks to this crowd coming up. I thought the rain probably shy some of y'all away, but tomorrow looks good. So call your buddies, and yeah, just thanks for everybody coming out.
Race fans, he picked up the clean sweep tonight here on night number 1 of the MLRA Spring Nationals. Big round of applause for Superman Jonathan Davenport. All right, we'll grab tonight's runner-up. Get Garrett Alberson over here, the driver of the Roberts Motorsports car number 58. Garrett, are you a guy that maybe wanted to see this one go 60 laps like we do tomorrow night? Because you really started coming on there at the end of this one. You just need more time.
Well, I don't know if anybody had anything for JD. We'll have to look at the times. I didn't even see him most of the race. I didn't even know if he's still out there or not, you know. But no, we went a little bit different on tire, and it really didn't. I don't think it took too long to get going, and I think it was the right call once we were going. It had been interesting to see time-wise, you know, in our good laps what we compared to JD there, but it was an entertaining race. You know, I was kind of nervous to make that call just on a shorter race, but it felt like it was good.
I think it's going to show tomorrow night qualifying is going to be such a huge deal, isn't it? I mean, obviously it was tonight. JD took care of business early on. How critical is qualifying going to be here tomorrow night for $20,000, Garrett?
Oh, for sure, and we missed a little bit tonight. It was kind of like the Diamond Nationals. Like we showed up, thought we had a good game plan, and it just didn't hit the ground. So we're going to have to. I'm hoping we're right there. We're a little bit closer range where we need to be. It felt a lot better, so maybe we'll start there and go from there. Yeah, I just got to thank all the people that help us. First and foremost, Ken and Beth Roberts for doing all this. Zach, Donald, Jeff, they've been doing a heck of a job. And just got to thank all the people that help us. Sunoco Race Fuels, Bill Stein Shock, Mesilla Valley Transportation, Brack Properties, Low Voltage Solution, Romer Machine, Bill's Sports Shop, Nutrient Ag, Lucas Oil Products. Yeah, just got to thank all of our guys. Yeah, we got a good car. We just got to put all the pieces together at the right time, I feel like. So, thanks.
All right, race fans, he's a 4-time MLRA winner. He'll look for number 5 tomorrow night. That's Garrett Alberson as we now slip over to our current MLRA point leader, 2-time champion Tony Jackson Jr. We left Springfield. Now we can say you can't win them all, but still another great run for the 56 camp tonight.
Yeah, thank you. We had a good car. You know, it was a really fun race, and you know, anytime you can run on the podium with these two, you got a pretty good race car.
Good run with Garrett there late in the race. You kind of were able to go back and forth. Looked like a very versatile racetrack with the moisture and everything we had, but they gave you guys a really good track tonight to be able to race on.
Yeah, the track was awesome. You know, I've been over here and watched the King of America and watched a few races, but the racetrack was really good tonight. And like I said, we had a good race with Garrett, and all the lap cars, and I'm sure it was exciting, you know what I mean, but probably not exciting for JD since he was so far ahead, but it was exciting for the rest of us.
Talk to me a little bit about the track a little bit. We've talked about it. They made some changes in Turn 4. I don't want you to let all your secrets out that you learned tonight, but could you tell a little bit of a difference, a little bit more racier on the top side here in Turn number 4 with the changes at Lucas Oil Speedway?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was always kind of this place's nemesis, you know, right there off 4, but I definitely think it made it for a lot better racing, and, you know, there's definitely lots of passing and moving around. There really wasn't – it was top dominant, but you could still use other lanes. I thought the racetrack was really good.
Race fans, he finishes out your podium tonight in third. That's your current MLRA Series point leader, Tony Jackson Jr. As we wrap things up down here in Premier Flatwork Victory Lane, Jonathan Davenport will stand tall tonight with that $7,000 check courtesy of Randy Davidson Trucking. As we wrap it up on night 1, we do it all over again tomorrow night for $20,000. For now, I'll throw it back up to Shane Freeby.
All right, thank you, Billy Rock, as it's picture time. Down on the front stretch with your top 3 tonight with Jonathan Davenport winning, Garrett Alberson, and Tony Jackson Jr. As Billy mentioned earlier, if you're anywhere close by tomorrow, come on out. Well, I don't care if you're 3, 4, 5 hours away. You might want to come out for the main event tomorrow. 20 grand to win. We saw a lot of racing action all the way through the field from P1 all the way back to the tailback, and I think tomorrow with a little better weather, able to actually prepare the track the way we want it to get done, probably going to make for a even better show tomorrow evening with these MLRA late models. We'll have the Hikamo Super Stocks back in the house tomorrow. Legends here tonight. Show Me Vintage Racers will be here tomorrow. And one race left, and it is the 15-lapper for the Legends. Get these cars fired back up and headed back off of turn number 2 and into the pit area. And we'll see the Legends start to roll out. On JD to get fired back up. He does, and off the track he will go. Bryson Leftwich back up on the Foley Equipment flag stand. And we're set to go for the 13 entries with the Legends cars. Legends run mostly in Springfield. They'll run at a couple of other tracks around Southwest Missouri. And they started coming out here a handful of years ago whenever Keelan Harvick ran here. He's up in the Cars Tour now, running with his dad and running extremely well. Here's your starting grid. You see the pole sitter and Chance Gilbert out of Galena, Kansas. Already out on the track as your A main shapes up this way for the 13 entries. Chance Gilbert starting inside row number 1, and Aurora, Missouri's Eric Johnson on his outside in the 7J2. Keith Moline from Cedar Rapids, Iowa in the number 33. Corey Pope on his right-hand side from Clever in the 84. Back in row number 3, it'll be Matthew Bowen from Springfield, Missouri, and Cody Moline on his outside, also out of Cedar Rapids. Fairgrove's Austin Aziz will start in 7th. Jet Stovall on his outside out of Bellings in the 00. Philip Uring and Phil Berkey-Bile Jr. starting 9th and 10th. 11th is David Sappington. Battlefield's Jordan Myers to start in 12th, and Rory Thompson is your 13th and final starting spot as they get bunched up nose to tail down the backstretch, all led by Chance Gilbert. Heavy down on the noisemaker and the green flag in the air. 15 circuits for the Legends cars. any opportunity at all to see these guys work the cushion up at the top. It ain't happening with these. They're going to stay down at the bottom of the track. Chance Gilbert inside a 22nd lap. And out by a second ahead of Eric Johnson. Corey Pope to third, Keith Moline in fourth, Cody Moline in fifth. Mentioned that Springfield is typically one of the tracks these cars run at. They also ran at Monette in years past. Chance Gilbert's, who's leading this, picked up 6 wins last year, and all of those were at Monette. Chance Gilbert, a 6-time winner last year in 2024. Picked up 9 wins. Everybody pretty much strung out now as Chance Gilbert. It's a car a lap down. That's the 68 of Jordan Myers. Good battle for second, however. Eric Johnson in that 72 or 72J has some rear end damage. See the bar off the back flapping in the wind. Hopefully that'll hang on, not break off, and put debris down on the track as Corey Pope. Last thing he wants to see is that thing come off and run over that. Doing damage to the 84. To the inside goes Corey Pope. 10 laps down, 5 remain. Pope to the inside, battling wheel to wheel with Eric Johnson. Corey out of Clever, Missouri, a 2-time winner already this year at Springfield. Springfield got off to an early start this season. Had some good weather to be able to do it. 2 wins for Corey Pope. Came on February 28th and March 28th. 28's a lucky number for the 84. Trying to get to the inside again, while this has been led by Chance Gilbert thus far, and the Midwest Sheet Metal Caution will come out with 3 laps left. They're gonna ask the 7J2 to stop on the inside over in turn number 2. We mentioned that bar was out. Gonna see if maybe they can either break that off or, you know. Can't be much holding that on right now. There we go. Hey, do you want this? Do you want me to hang on to it? You want to just put it in there? Okay, we'll hang on to it. Eric Johnson will get his spot back after getting the rear bar disengaged. And lights will turn off and we'll get back underway. Next time around with 3 laps to go. So 3-lap shootout, and it has been all Chance Gilbert so far. At a 5-second advantage over Eric Johnson and Corey Pope. Austin Aziz has worked up to 4th. He is the hard charger, up 3 spots. Single file but spread out through 3 and 4. Green up in the air, and can Chance Gilbert hang on for 3 final laps? Good restart out by probably about 7 or 8 of these Legends car links. Corey Pope was able to take advantage on the restart and get around Eric Johnson, so he's now up to 2nd. And he'll have 1 lap left to try to reel in Chance Gilbert, but right now I don't think anybody has anything for the pilot of the 0-1 right now. Chance looking for his first win of the season after 3 top 5s already. A best finish of 2nd came just last week, and Chance Gilbert does 1 better. He will win at Lucas Oil Speedway, and he does it by almost a 2nd ahead of Corey Pope. A 6-time winner in 2025 picks up win number 1. Chance Gilbert able to get the job done ahead of Corey Pope by almost a 2nd. Eric Johnson in 3rd, Austin Aziz in 4th, and Jet Stovall rounding out the top 5. 6th through 10th, Keith and Cody Moline, Matthew Bowen, David Sappington, and Phil Berkey-Bile Jr. Chance Gilbert already out into victory lane as he will park it on the front stretch. GS Stanek Photography, the official photographer here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Going to go down and get a couple of quick shots of Chance Gilbert. Casey Schumann puts down the big check. Put some slick mist on the hood and out from the cockpit. Chance Gilbert, win number 1 of 2025. Still getting the helmet and Hans device off. And out he comes. After picking up a win, he's going to pull his own Jonathan Davenport. Steering wheel in hand, victorious on top of the 0-1. And Doug Neff down on the front stretch will make his way down and chat with Chance.
Chance Gilbert down here in Galena, Kansas. Your winner, he's getting that helmet off. You know, it's a little chilly down here, but it looks like he worked up a little bit of a sweat here tonight. Chance, congratulations on the win.
Thanks. I just want to thank all my sponsors, Rumors Cocktail Lounge, Fox Electric, Comer's Auto Express, Audio House Production, Muddy Bottom Boys Racing, Hell Vision, my dad, Lambert Tractor, and Chad Bowman. And I want to thank Dave Comer for everything he does for me.
Man, these things are incredible. Motorcycle engine in them, but they get around there pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, they get around here pretty good.
So, well, long ways from Kansas, but coming home with a victory sure made it worthwhile.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Chance Gilbert, your winner.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. Night number 1 of the 13th Annual Spring Nationals now in the books. Congratulations goes to Johnny Finewald picking up the W in the Hickamo Super Stocks. Jonathan Davenport got the job done in the MLRA race, 40 laps down. They're going to run more laps tomorrow for a $20,000 paycheck. And there you see Chance Gilbert win number 1 of the season in a Legends car. We will get to do this all over again tomorrow, night 2 of the Spring Nationals here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Racing action gets started at the same time. Come on out, invite some friends, and watch a good night of racing as we'll welcome in the Show Me Vintage Racers. We'll still have the MLRA and the Super Stocks in the house tomorrow evening, and we invite you back then for night number 2 of the Spring Nationals. For Billy Rock, for Doug Neff, and our entire crew here, including Dave Middleton, calling the shots for FloRacing. Thanks so much for joining us here at Lucas Oil Speedway. We will see you tomorrow from the Diamond and Dirt Tracks in Wheatland. Good night, everybody.